Dodgy the Goblin, and welcome to the official Family of Gamers podcast. The podcast where Andrew and Coach talk all things war games, board games, and much, much more. And here are your hosts, Andrew and Coach.
All right, welcome to the Family Gamers podcast. I have the unsurmountable pleasure of talking with. I got to tell you, I think I'm good friends with Claudio, and this is the first time we've met in person, even though it's not in person. But the first time we're actually talking, we've talked a lot over the internet, and usually over Facebook and in all the chats and all the group chats and all that stuff. So, welcome, young man. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine and I'm really thrilled to be here. And as you said, it's the first time we actually are talking face to face and not through other more, written medium. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we
I'm
should
looking forward to this one.
we should do more of this more often. Get because I don't know when I'm going to be able to come across the seas. Maybe I think I'm going to retire soon from my job. I might be able to do traveling. And I told my wife, if we ever travel and we go to Europe, which I really want to go to Europe, um, I said you got to give me like 2 days just to game because there's so many guys that I talk to in Europe that I just want to game with, and especially Deadzone. So, but Claudio, do me a favor. For the guys who don't know, I know you very well. I want you just introduce yourself, and then we can jump on there.
Okay, I'm not sure what there is to tell about me, but well, I'm Claudio, yes. I'm from Germany, and right now I'm one of the members of the Deadzone Rules Committee, so the RC. I've been playing tabletop games for over 20 years now. I think I've started with the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers set that came out from Games Workshop back then, and then played many different games. And when the Dead Zone First Edition Kickstarter came around over 10 years now, it's crazy.
Wow.
I've backed that on good faith with little money in my pocket, but all in. And that was like a life-changing decision because that was a game that really opened my eyes. That tabletop wargaming doesn't have to be 40k or other games. I mean, in the meantime, so many other good games have come out from many companies, but that was really the one where I stuck with Mantic. I knew Mantic from before, and but Dead Zone was really the one game to change it all. And now I'm for I think 4 years or a bit longer. So before third edition, I came to be a member of the RC, and now here we are with a big new update to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what. You the same thing like me. I didn't back the Kickstarter, but Ronnie. We went to Adepticon, the big U.S. Miniature game
Mhm.
convention here, and my two friends that Fabian and Eric were there, and they said you got to go check out this Dead Zone game. We want to buy it. So I go over. Ronnie gives me the demo, and we didn't know anything like you. 40K. We were playing like Wild West Exodus, a lot of minute board games. But when he presented Dead Zone to us, the cubes, the different things, and it was only at the time we only had uh, the four factions,
Mhm.
and so you know we were driving home, and I listened to Dead Zone the podcast, the original with Rob and Jack, and they just got their Kickstarter, so we were like super ground level, like like you, like we got the box while they were receiving their Kickstarter, and then like you said, it's been crazy for us too. It's just been a games that aren't 40K. And I don't know about you guys, but when I show Dead Zone to other people, the only criticism I get is like I'm not too crazy about the models, but I love the game.
Mhm.
And there's not one person that I've shown the game to that doesn't like it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've also shown it to friends who usually play board games, and even for them, it was really accessible and fun. I mean,
Right.
many stick to board games because they are just not interested in wargaming, tabletop wargaming, but they still had fun, and it was just easy to learn for them or to get the grasp how the game works, and because they me and my friends are talking about Deadzone quite a lot in our
Mm.
free time. It happens. So they wanted to know, okay, what the hustle is all about. And but to wargamers, it's always the same. I think Deadzone is just a fun game, and I think the fun aspect. I mean, we're playing games. Every game should be fun,
Should be.
but it's but if you're looking in the internet or talking to people, sometimes or pretty often, the fun isn't really there, and that's, I mean, that's crazy, right?
Right.
It's a game. And a hobby? Why shouldn't we have fun? And I think that zone is just on the level where you can have fun all the time while being a bit competitive if you want to,
Oh yeah.
narrative if you want to. It's or just a quick game of rolling dice and having a beer and a laugh. So I think it excels at every level.
Yeah, I think Dead Zone it cracks that niche where it's not the big like firefight or 40K or like huge game like that, but it's also not like a checkers. It's they're good rules. When Dead Zone came to us first edition, it had good bones, but it was a
Mhm,
little bit. I mean, you play. Remember with the cards, and you had the different levels of aggression, and so it was a
mhm.
little clunky. And then when we got second edition, that's where like the rubber hit the road, man.
Yeah.
Ugh, that was. I mean, because I liked first edition. Don't get me wrong, I liked it, but it was a little bit like, okay, so I'm going to aggressive. Now I am going up one. Oh, I'm down one. That was a little clunky, but I think by taking that out and then even the best thing, the command dice was the when command dice came out. That was for me. That was like the heavens have opened and
Mhm.
Dead Zone got better. When I couldn't believe it got better. You know,
Yeah, I like the memory of first edition
right?
because it was really something new. But then I mean, even when looking for this update, but also because I was interested in it and I did a few Warpath lore episodes, so I went through the old books again, and then looking at the rules, like you had an extra survive die if some scatter was in your cube.
Mm-hmm.
Not only, but you could get a clear shot, but a +1 survive because scatter was in the cube,
Right.
because
It
you
didn't
could
make.
hide then and so on. It was a cinematic idea, but it was so clunky.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's from a time where skirmish games weren't just fast and easy, but they were like the crunchy
Mm-hmm.
versions of big war games.
Right. Right.
And so the same was for Dead Zone. You were only pinning and blazing away the whole time because nothing died, everything had armor. Crazy times. I mean, I love the secret missions where everyone had to guess which was the mission the other one was playing and so on.
Right.
But
Right.
looking back at it, like from a rules writing perspective, I'm so glad second edition came along because it changed the game on a like groundbreaking level.
Yeah.
As
Oh
you
yeah.
said, the bones were there, and the mechanic, maybe if you want to, the engine,
Mm-hmm.
but it got so much better. And I think third was just a bit of an adjustment here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but not a complete change as first to second was.
Well, no matter how you plan for it. So I don't know if you guys know or whatever. I was on the rules committee. We did worked on second to third and um, uh, working on stuff. So what I will say is we're going to go through this, and I'm going to say about this update is it's fantastic. It really is. You guys did the work. I know what it's like to do it, and you're gonna get all this bull crap from people and stuff, but you do the thing. But no matter how good an update is, and you'll say you take, let's say, I don't know, a cipher, and we make him perfect, and now you start playing, and then it either people use it and it gets to be so powerful or it's so underrated. You won't know till about a year later where you have the community playing, let's say, 10,000 games. You know what I mean? And Asterian players and playing against us. You will never know. So, the rocket ship is on course 90% of the time. 10% of the time, 90%, NASA moves the rocket ship to put it on course. That's the way this game is because, say, you get, the worst, I don't know what you want, the Z's and the Rebs become the most overpowered unit in Dead Zone that you would never see that happen. And that's why I think this is good. But I know you guys going through. what you sent me going through the companion app, it was a monumental undertaking. It was like I think you got the reason it took so long was because it was a lot to do. But I got to say that I'm 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 ecstatic that things happen. Now I'm not happy about certain things, but I'm going to come to you. I hope you understand. I hope the people that are listening understand that I understand what it's like to write this. And sometimes you got to be like, you know what, this is what we're going with because this is what we feel is the best. And I'm going to look and say, wait a minute, you guys really screwed up these guys. Let me, and then I want to see where your head's at too because
Mhm.
you know it just makes sense because and you know what, I hope you understand I'm coming at you with passion, not with hate, because of the love of this game. Some guys, I know I have a reputation out there, that guy from the east, from New York, he's a pain in the ass, and I am a pain in the ass, and I'll admit it, but because I want this game to be fantastic. But I don't badmouth because I've been there. It's not easy to do. Like, all right, you hear these people, and Claudio, you might be one of those, might have been one of those people. What are these RC guys doing? Are you nuts? How are you gonna raise this or lower this? Oh, these guys, you made them better. It's hard. It's hard, but we can have a rational discussion. That's why and Deadzone community is good. It's not the 40K community, although we got a bunch of knuckleheads out there, but I just ignore them. So
Yeah, that's, I think, if you want to keep sane, being sane, that's a good way to do it. No, I'm completely here for that, even
mhm,
for the discussions. I know that. I mean, the plan is to not wait 3.5 years until the next update. Obviously, we had a few updates or minor changes over the course of the last 3.5 years since third edition dropped. We monitored, like, you know different tournaments and playing groups,
mhm,
and what their opinions were, and also on Facebook, Discord, and YouTube, and whatever. So we will be keeping doing that. So this update is now live, and maybe in 6 months, a year, or whatever, we can go back and see if there is a few things that need tinkering and changing. So but as you said, we it's a lot.
yeah,
So there are many moving parts already, um, and it's always hard to predict if everything is going the way we want and hope it
mhm.
to.
Okay. So I got a cup of coffee and I got a cup of water here. I am ready to go. I'll probably have to take about 15 pee breaks, but you know, we'll uh we'll
It
we'll,
is
we'll
what it
suffer
is.
we'll suffer through. So I will say though, like this is, everybody's like, "Oh, is this 4.0?" And when I was reading it, it was basically like a lot of stuff comes out, and I don't like the people that are complaining about, well, Mantic's going to put out a PDF, you might have to pay for it. How much could a PDF cost? $10, $5, whatever it is. But I remember about when I was on the rules committee, people were saying we would like a living rule book, a
Mhm,
living rule book
mhm,
where there's a like a repository or depository, or whatever, of rules, and when the rules change, it would change. Well, we have that in the companion because stuff is changed and whatever. Um, it's nice that it's there because I don't have to wait. Like, all right, so the rules committee comes up with, we're going to change this from a 4 to a 5 stat, and we're going to increase the VPs, and we're going to change the price cost of this unit. I don't have to wait for playtesting. Uh, I don't have to wait for printing. I don't have to wait for it to ship, and I don't wait for me to have to go to a convention or order it and get it, so that a year goes by, I get the book, I get the update, we play it, and then we found out it's crap, and we have to go back and change it. I think the living rule book is great. Like you say, all right, we're going to make Teratons, 13 points now. Wait a minute, that's terrible. Let's change it back. You could do it in an instant. I think that's fantastic. My one criticism, though, I will say, my one criticism is that there needs to be something, not Facebook or not, maybe on the companion, where it's like, hey guys, we just
mhm.
updated this on Deadzone. You should go check it out. Sometimes, like, somebody said to me, like, "Hey, coach, did you see this?" What? Oh, man, I missed it. I got I'm working, I this, and I come down, I sit at the computer, and I get a message. Hey, did you see that they changed the price on Enforcers? No, I didn't. I got to go into my companion app. I think something, and it's not you guys, but like, hey, this month in Dead Zone, check this out and go.
Mhm.
That I think that's as a communication would be better because I think the companion is so, and I don't mind paying for it, and then I don't mind paying for the vault either because every month that vault pays dividends.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's freaking fantastic. But what I hate is we finally got what we asked for, and people are still bitching and moaning about it. That's my issue. Don't worry, I got you guys. Don't worry about it. I'll say the hard thing. Don't bitch and moan about the living rulebook, which is the companion, and don't bitch and moan about the vault if you don't have a printer. Go buy a printer. Mm,
Well, I mean, I remember the times with the living rulebook requests, and now we have it. And I think both points are valid in a way. I think only having the companion, and it was already mentioned a few times that there will be a PDF. And then again, this is such a massive update. If you if you're paying for 1 month of a subscription for the companion and then just cancel it and get everything like in a PDF format, or you buy the PDF, that's not really a big cost for
mm-hmm.
such an update. If you compare it to, when there were only physical books, you were paying much more than that.
Correct.
I mean, we have our PDF or working PDF was about like I think 80 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So if you lay out that with an extra, pictures and things that it looks good, it's like about 120 pages
Right.
maybe, and that would be a big cost. That's like more the 30 dollar, euro, pound, whatever
Mm-hmm.
thing. So I think from a cost perspective, you want to have, if you have like the app or just a PDF, you think, well, I don't have anything in my hands, it should be cheap or for free because it's just an update. But if you look back, these things usually cost money. And I think the living rulebook aspect from the companion is awesome. I really like where the companion is going or
Right.
went through. Um, and but I'm also with you at the point with the communication where you have really where you have to say like, okay, this is new, this changed, and so on. There will be a change log for this update. I think this update will hopefully also pave the way for making it a bit more official that the companion really is the thing we're working with and PDF supporting it. Um, but a blog post, I think Friday, so 2 days before this recording, um, there was a blog post like giving a few questions and answers, highlighting a few of the changes, and like it was the first really official announcement after the factions were out. A few things got added, and at this point, I think only the scenarios are missing, and we're just going through it this weekend because we didn't have that much time.
Right.
We went through everything to check if there are a few errors because with such an amount of data being changed, and the application sometimes doing things on its own, we have to go through that. But I think in maybe a week or so, everything should be finished, and then we can have the changelog and the PDF, and yeah, then we really profit from this, yeah, companion living rulebook, however you want to call it.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I think also too when you're doing. I know I have the working PDF, but
Mhm.
the you want to make it nice, so you need a graphic designer, then you need an artist, then you need somebody to proofread, and then it's not like you guys are putting out a Word document and just sending it out. It has to be professionally done, and you can appreciate that, and that just takes time, and people make a livelihood doing this. They need to be compensated, and I have no honestly I have no problem. I spend money on so many models and stuff. I might as well spend it on the game that I like. You got to still think though. We're still ahead of the game. We're not buying. I mean, I play literally every faction but the Rebs in Dead Zone. All right, I play every single one of them, but the Rebs. Okay, I have my favorites, but I play every single faction but the Rebs. I can't stress that enough. If I was playing uh, I'm embarrassed, but I don't know how many factions. But let's say there's 15 factions. I play 14 of them. if I have
Good
to buy,
question.
if I if I had to buy 14 codexes, all right, that would be something. I like I think you could have did it in one book, but I understand the two books, the rule book, the faction lists, not a problem. It's and I bought those because this is the game we play. That was 3 years ago when it came out. So
Mm,
now I got to pay what? I don't know, 10, 15 bucks for a PDF. I have no problem with that. If you want a physical one, you should be allowed to do that too. But I understand that, you know, I know Ronnie's trying to, go into the future and this is it. And a lot of companies are doing this where you get a PDF, play the game, buy the models from us, or if you have a printer, well, we have the vault. I think it's fantastic. I love where we're going from me ordering something and waiting almost a month to get it from England to downloading something, printing it, and I'm playing it that night. It's
yeah.
it's but you pay for it. That's all. Hey, listen, this is not a cheap hobby, so stop being so cheap and do what you got to do.
I mean, two things. I also know that the companion is only taking credit cards, and that is a problem for a few people because I often tell people just go for the minimum subscription, which is about £2-3 or something like that. I'm not sure.
Right,
For 1 month, get everything saved as a PDF, and then you have everything, and that's like the cheapest you can ever get.
right,
And then you can use the companion to make your lists and have your keywords printed out and so on. But I get it. A problem is that some people don't have a credit card, so it's not as easy to do that. So that's a point I'm understanding. And the other is that people also say, I don't want to be on my smartphone. I don't want to be in front of a computer if
hmm,
I'm doing my hobby. That is getting away from all that,
right,
daily job technology thing. And I also get that, but on the other hand, we're living in 2025. There will be no way to completely separate this from your life.
hmm,
And if you want that, you can still print everything out from the companion. So
correct,
you print out your list, your keywords, if you subscribe, and so on. You don't have to have your tablet or your smartphone with you when playing. You will have to do it beforehand because that's how it goes.
right,
But also, you could also go to a print shop and get everything printed um, if you really want to, and then never have to prepare with the computer. I think there are a few extra steps you have to do to get rid of your screen time in the hobby, but I think it's doable if it's really something that's bothering you.
right.
But in the end, we have 3D printing, we have companion apps, and I don't want to go back to writing my lists with a pencil and a piece of paper. And I've done that plenty when in the last 3 years because of playtesting.
Yeah,
So I'm so looking forward to just go to the companion, have the luxury of clicking through it and having everything right in front of me and with the right costs and everything. So
y-
not having that for the last three or most of the time for the last 3 years really showed me how good such an official app really is.
yeah. I remember I had when the books came out, I would sit down and do an Excel file for every faction and do the points. So you move it
Mhm.
over and do this, and then we print it like that, and that worked. I thought that was, I thought we were high class over here, but now when we're playing, we have you know a few spare iPads, and we'll just pull them up on the companion and have it right there, and we
Mhm.
can scroll, and then also. Um, I know what you're saying. Like people want to, I don't want screen time, but I put my iPad on a stand, and we're going through stuff, and I'm like, oh, all right. You're in the heat of battle, and like, what is it burns do? And you press the companion, it pulls up, it burns, and it's right there. So that in and of itself is fantastic. I could pull up all rules just for the hell of it, or a new player can say, "What is that?" Well, it has it burns, and then the person will read it, and then you can teach them how to use it burns. So which is I think the most complicated rule that we have, but once you get it, you get it, um, and it's right there on the app. You don't have to look up any rules in a book, and if the rule is updated, it's updated in the companion. You might look in the book and it's like, well, it was changed 3 months ago, but that book came out a year ago. So I think the companion is that powerful when it comes to that, and that's what we've been asking for, the living, like I said, the living
Mm.
rule book. So, but without further ado, let's let me get my scalpel out. Let's go into this stuff. So, how do you want to do it? You want to go? You want to go through it, and or I should just ask questions, or you want me to lead the
I think
way?
I think you could just ask questions, because I mean, explaining everything would take a while. So I'm really interested what you want to talk about. So.
Okay, so since you sent me the thing, and actually last night I was reading over it again. The companion app was down. It was weird. I was getting
Mm.
that message. I don't know if it was being updated or whatever, but I couldn't get on it, and then I couldn't get on the Mantic site, and then it was like a few hours later it came back. I don't know if updating or whatever was going on, but so I'm gonna throw some stuff at you, and then you can maybe answer the question and stuff. So I know that you guys revised the recon table. All right,
Mhm.
we were not using the recon table because it sucked. What we would do was we would do the Rob Harper method, which was by Rob from Deadzone the podcast, where if you won the recon effect, you would just get, let's say we were playing and I won by 3. I would have 3 guys able to move 1 cube, and that was it. Because we really didn't like the recon effects. I know you guys revised the recon. What I do like is there's a winner and loser, and you roll 1 dice. You don't roll like, oh, I beat you by 5. I could roll 5 dice because that you could destroy somebody
Mhm.
with that. So I like that. What was the reason for the change of the recon?
The reason was that it felt a bit, I don't know, wonky. It was just like not really the effects. Some were just the moving effects. Some were looking at items. It wasn't really exciting, I think. So we wanted some effects that would be, would really change something.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we wanted to only have a winner and a loser thing. And then if you lost, it could feel bad. So we had a minor effect for the loser. Um, but we up the effects, for the winner a bit. I think
Mm-hmm.
they are a bit stronger than before, but you can't rely on them because there are too many, so that you win and okay, I will get that smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I had a game where we were playing like enforcers versus GCPS, and the winner got the smoke and had to place it, on the edge
Right.
because we wanted to shoot each other. But usually it's really helping you, and but it's a hard balance because if you win recon, you already have an advantage because you can choose your side,
Right.
you can choose who is beginning, and um, so it had to be not to be overpowered.
Mm.
So that's the point, and I think it's still a strong effect, but it won't change the game completely if you win or lose.
Right. Now, moving on to that, I love the fact that we have faction specific recon effects. I was saying that for years. I thought that's a great idea. But when I was on the rules committee, the head guy was well, I don't want to do faction specific because it's not he had his reasons. I think it's a great thing, and it should play to your strengths. And if you win, you have that option. Now, by winning recon, you're not only getting the regular effect, you can go to your faction specific effect, which might even be more powerful than the regular recon effect, and it's
Yeah,
more
because you also,
flavorful.
yeah, it's more flavorful, and you know what you're getting.
Right. Right.
So you know what you're getting if you're choosing your faction effect because you don't have to roll anything. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the faction effect is also something that in some list building, it's maybe better, and for other lists it's worse.
Right.
For
Okay.
example, if you're building a list with the enforcers, the faction effect only works on units with jump pack. So if you don't take units that would profit from an area deployment, because you have pathfinders or you know only striders and
Right.
sentry guns or
Right.
whatever, it's not as powerful. But you know that, so you
Mm-hmm.
can play with that. And maybe if you really want to have that effect more often than not, because it's really fitting for your list, maybe you consider taking a leader with a better recon, because you know your effect will complement your list building.
Right.
So it's just something else, and it's flavorful and thematic, and I think I love that
Yeah. And if you take all
because it
Pathfinders, if you take Pathfinders, you know that you're going to go from the regular recon
yes,
because they don't have jump packs. So,
yes.
that makes sense.
But
Uh,
then you could also take, one single normal enforcer or peacekeeper with face claws or a fusion gun or something like that,
mhm.
and then okay, I want that
Right.
guy to be up front. You have the 3+ recon from your Pathfinder sergeant, and then you have the one guy with the jump pack who could then take the recon,
Yeah.
which you maybe won't do usually, but now you do. So it's just a
Yeah. Yeah.
little something extra.
And it wasn't so powerful that it's going to destroy the game. It just gives you a little edge at the beginning. So
Yeah.
I like that. But the things that I hate is when the splats or the recon is so kind of super situational. It should be a little bit more broad. I think it's a little bit more broad now, where it can be used more. Um, Recon table, not this fashion specific. Because
Mhm.
like if you say, like you were saying, oh well, you win a thing if you have a jump pack, you get this. Well, my whole army doesn't have jump pack, so it's kind of I just wasted. I won
Mhm.
recon and I wasted a recon. So I like the rules that affect more than less, and also affect an army that you could do whatever you want and still you could still you can still use like the command ability and stuff. It's like,
Mhm.
well, if I take this guy, I have to take, like, if I take a Pathfinder Sergeant, I have to take Pathfinders. You can take a Pathfinder Sergeant and take the other guys, and then this affects them. So it's a nice little kind of a workaround. I was very, that's the first thing I read. I was like, oh, okay, these guys we're on the right path here. I like what's going on here. So I know we have multiplayer games, multi-mat games, interactive scenery, environmental conditions. I will be honest with you, 90% of that stuff I'm not going to use. But
Mhm.
but if there are guys out there who want to be very narrative driven and who want to do that, it's pretty cool. And I will say that, like, tournament wise, I don't think it's good. But if you're doing the beer and pretzel game in the house, it's awesome. We had done environmental conditions before. We've done the interactive scenery before, the multiplayer games, the multi map. But you guys kind of fine tooth coned it, and it's a little bit it's a little bit easier now. I think I like the way you set it up and stuff, and um, it's a good thing to do because if you want to play three people in Deadzone, you should be able to, knowing that it's not going to be a competitive game. It's just a fun game,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
that was great.
it's not meant for, the streamlined and maybe tournament scene. It's really for those, because we talked about, the first edition having a few cool things we missed, but we didn't like rules wise maybe. But here you can go wild. You can combine everything. You can do a multiplayer game with an environmental effect
Hmm.
and having interactive scenery. Many rules to remember, but it's something for, the veterans or for those who play more regularly and want to have something special or something more narrative. It's it's meant to be okay balanced.
Hmm.
So we tried that if an effect is, bad for a shooting army, it should also have an effect on fighting armies, so that if you really roll randomly and have an environmental effects that just hinders your shooty enforcers against the plague, and okay, this game we don't have to play it because I've already lost.
Hmm.
That would be bad, even if it's thematic and fun and so on, because then it's not fun anymore because it's not engaging. So we try to balance it as best as possible, but it's still something that you usually use for a beer and pretzels game, as you said.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe maybe some elements could be used. I mean, you could use some terminals for getting extra intel,
right.
and having more value for hackers,
Hmm.
because that's something I could see if you really want to spice up some missions on a tournament and you want people to bring a few more hackers and play a bit more strategically because of that. That's an option. But that's complete. It's a sandbox. You can
Right.
use whatever you like, and we gave the framework to use it freely or with tables, or just pick what you want if your opponent agrees to it.
Yeah, I think that's good because, like, I've always said this. We've said this from the get go. like you know, oh, I wish we had this in the game. I wish we had that in the game. I wish we had this. So just put it in the game for yourself. Make it a house rule, and then But I think we all get caught up on, well, I want to put a volcanic thing in Dead Zone, but it's not in the rule book. So just figure it out and do it. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, it's not. And I'm glad you guys put this in because you could just do it. Like the other night we were talking about. It was me, Andrew, and Ryan was sitting here, and we were like, we should play. Um, we did it I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. We did put three mats together and did a three-way match. And but now we have rules for it. And I said, oh, you know what? The guys came up with rules. We should check this out just for the fun of it. Um, you know, you don't have to use it, but if you do, uh, I like the stuff, but like a sporting, I look at it like a tournament should be a sporting match. Like,
Hmm.
I know you guys play soccer over there. I don't like soccer, but you call it football. I have a different rule of football. But um, in a soccer match, you don't have lightning bolts that hit the field, or you don't the field doesn't open up and you got to jump over and work with it. I think in a tournament there should be a set of rules that don't change, like a sporting match, and that's it. When you're home,
Hmm.
you could do whatever, throw rocks, throw whatever. I think it's a cool addition to it at home. But you guys are not writing that aspect for tournaments. You're writing that for
No.
for beer and pretzel guys, for fun.
Yeah, it's clearly stated that it's optional, and it's fun, and if an event wants to do more of a narrative event,
Yes.
a tournament-like narrative event, they can use it or not or whatever. And maybe it's even an inspiration for effects that can be used,
Right.
because we have a few other things in there, in the environmental effects, for example, where your speed value or your armor value can be the factor that is, you have to roll on your sprint value to escape
Mhm.
some plants, or the armor can drown you more easily.
Yes.
So
I thought that was
maybe
kind of
there
cool.
are yeah, maybe there are a few things in there you people haven't thought about,
Hmm.
and maybe they're a bolder to you know use them for their game they want to do. And if they don't, because they're they just want to play with rules from the rulebook, it's there. And if
Right.
not, you can just ignore it, play your regular game, play hardcore
Mhm.
um, tournament setting without the extras, and still have fun.
Right. Okay. So now, moving on, we have plant the flag, hack the mainframe, the floor is lava, a personal favorite, and the monster's lair. So these are brand new scenarios, brand new missions. Is that where we're going? I love the floor is lava. I read that last night about 5 times. I was talking with the guys about it here. We my sworn to secrecy guys, but I was like, you have to listen to this. And as the floor is coming up, and that would be great. Like I just see myself like fighting an aberration, but getting knocked back, or maybe able to move him, and he falls on the floor, and then the lava gets him, and then I don't have to worry about the aberration no more. It's kind of like you know, it's a little it's very narrative, but not so narrative that you can't use it in a tournament or a hardcore player.
Mhm.
You know, I,
Yeah, it's still a balanced thing, but you're not gaining victory points as easily, because you really have to get the kill victory points. But
mm,
you can get those through knockbacks, through threat effects, maybe even through pinning effects or something like that. So um, it's really a fun one. It takes a bit longer than the others because
yeah,
of the victory threshold. So you could even say, okay, we're playing less points because of that. So do it
hmm,
as you wish.
right,
But it's crazy, because shotguns get really nasty on that map, on
yeah. I
that
could,
scenario.
I could see that the stuff like that, or even blast, or
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty was you know they're pretty good in like say if you have a mortar and you want to blast a cube and you want to hopefully knock them out, maybe get some falling damage, or you can hit them against the wall or something. With this, it just adds another lethality to those type of weapons, or like
Mm.
the Sorak has the blast weapon, and you're like, he's cheap. He's my troop tax for my specialist. But now the blast can really, if he blasts somebody into the lava, that would be something else, and you would get the points. So works out perfect. Uh, let's see what else we got here. So so those four, you got to keep coming up with missions. It just keeps it going because we can't. I know we had like 20 missions, but you got like you guys
Hmm.
come up with new missions because it makes it more fun to play the game, something different, and it also we have to figure out how to win those missions.
Hmm.
So, and it
Yeah.
takes your mind in another way. It's like, all right, well, we can only do the extract mission so many times. We can only do the one where I end up in your deployment zone, or the you know two objectives here, or two objectives here, or four object. It changes it around, and I think it's good because it takes your mind in a different area, and it doesn't stagnate. It's
Yeah.
and you can still play the
And
old missions. I love them, but to have a little bit
yeah,
more.
and even if you and your friends or play group or whatever don't like one mission in the normal rule book but still want to roll for it, you could always say, I don't know, the patrol mission is too boring.
Yes.
Every time we roll patrol, we take the floor is lava instead, or so on. So now you have four extra missions that don't need an extra setup. You can just choose to play them. You can throw them in your in your randomizer. You could roll a d20
Mm.
and have those 20 missions. It's up to you, really.
Yeah.
But they are really different to the other missions. So we didn't have to, we didn't want to just bring four new missions in there for the sake of it with normal victory points and
Right.
normal deployments, because we have so many options already with our 16 missions.
Right.
But these are really different and yeah, fun, and it could be also balanced. I mean, as you said, the Flores Lava could be used in a tournament. The Hack the Mainframe could be used.
Right.
Plant the
Right.
Flag. They are all, balanced in a way. Maybe the Monster Slayers is the one that is a bit
Right. But that's
more,
that's
more,
that's a
more freaky,
but
but
if you're going into a narrative tournament, and you're going into a narrative tournament, and you're going to get that, you plan accordingly. You know,
yeah.
I'm glad though the missions are different. It's not just like, all right, so now we've taken the objectives and put them here, and then we did put them here and hack a mainframe. They're so out there that it's so different that it's good that the variety is different. You didn't just kind of like shake up the patrol mission and do it differently. You know what I mean? I like that.
Mhm.
The crazy one, I think, I like the volcano. The volcano,
Yeah.
I think, is something super spicy. You know?
It's hot.
Yeah, it's hot, right? Um, you know, different aspects of moving the board. That's something crazy. You could do patrol, but you could change the board a little bit. I know you're going to have to get more than two. I guess, put two mats together to do it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I like it. I don't think it's a
I've
bad idea.
actually cut my old first edition mat.
Oh,
Ian did it
sacrilege!
yeah, but I have so many mats, and I was like, I've never using this one. Should I really do it? And Ian just sent us a picture when he wrote or had the idea for this sliding floors.
Hmm.
He just sent us a picture with scissors and his mat, and
Hmm.
then the afterwards when he cut it in four pieces, and we were, what are you doing? Are you
Right,
crazy? And then at some point I've tried it with a double mat, which works fine. You
right,
don't have to cut anything up. If you have two mats, it works perfectly. But then I really thought, I'm never using the old mat, so maybe I just cut it up,
right.
and it's a bit more clear where the edges are. But this is really, you have now 20 missions, like 20 normal missions, and
Hmm.
then if you're using the sliding floors, those 20 missions can be completely different
Right.
every time you play.
Well, if you're going to cut
So
up a mat, cut up that first one because the I don't know how yours is. Mine is it's a little smaller and it doesn't really fit. The cubes
yeah.
were actually it was like instead of being 2 foot, it was you know like 3 inches smaller. So if you're gonna cut it up, cut that one up. But yeah, I got to tell you though, with us, I have about 12 mats. I can
Mhm.
run. I have so much terrain between printing, buying it, and all this stuff. I could literally run 12 tables. 12 mats. That's how much.
12 mats, yeah.
12 mats. So 24 players. I could, if I wanted to do it right now, it's just, you know, the constant printing and painting and buying mats and buying from Mantic and then buying from Third, like Mats by Mars and stuff because I know Mario a long time. It's just so much you can do, but I think it's a good idea. I like that. I don't know if I cut up a mat. I don't know if I could do it in my heart, but maybe I'll print something and then paint it.
I
And
mean, you can try it out with the double mat, and
yes,
then you see how you like it, and if you really like it and say, okay, that's worth it,
hmm
you can still cut it up later.
yeah.
So keep me posted.
All right. For those listening, it's hard to if you don't know yet. Um, I'm looking at it, so it's hard to explain. But like, there's two, and then they take the next two sets of cubes and move them like a cube over, and then take the other set of two. So Claudio was saying that he's like uh, cut two cubes all the way across the eight, and then you kind of move them around a little bit, almost like multiverse type of movement stuff, and
Mm,
then you play on that board. So if you're standing, let's say, on the bottom cube, you don't have anywhere to go. You must go diagonal because you're just going to kind of go into nothing. And
yeah, you have
yeah,
4 stripes of 2 cubes
right.
that you then
Yeah, then you
move
kind of move
around.
around and stuff. And you know what's cool though? Once you have that, you don't have to do that. You can actually do some kind of silliness, like maybe make a I don't know, maybe make like a racetrack, almost like Mario Kart, and then in the middle is something, only bridges or whatever. Oh, see, now I'm starting. I'm gonna cut up my mat tonight. I got
It's
you. You know, yeah, I like it. You
it's
know,
already working, you
yeah,
know? We
like
we just give you something and the ideas are flowing.
right.
Good.
And you know what? I've said this from the get go a long time ago, and I've been saying it, and because people piss and moan about certain things. If you don't like something in the rule book, don't play it. If you like something better in the rule book, play it. That's what we've always done. When we've done battle reports, and people would say, I would say at the beginning, it's like, okay, we use the recon table, we do it this way. This is the way we prefer to do it. And people would like, well, that's terrible. You're not following the rule book. Oh, I bought the book. I bought the thing, and I'm playing it the way we want to play it. That's great. Now, if I go to Claudio invites me over to his house and says, "Yeah, in this we use the recon table. We do exactly like the rule book says." Play it that way. It's all right. It's cool. That's why I like this stuff. I like the variety. How do you take Deadzone and make it better? That's a hard task. But
Yeah.
but this is how you affect it. The crossroads is crazy. I love that. I thought that was so cool. Um, yeah, so new missions, uh, new ways of setting up the board, recon tables, all that good stuff, environmental factors. Um, when you guys get this PDF and stuff, check it out. That's the main thing. I don't know. I don't know if everybody's got it because it's not in the companion yet, as far
Mm.
as that stuff. But
The scenarios are the only ones missing right now while we're
right,
recording. The rest is already live, so
okay, okay. So, but I'm saying like, give it a look, try it out. Don't I kind of give my opinion beforehand, but when honestly everything in here we try. So that when I say, hey Claudia, you know what? I didn't like this part of it, but I played 10 games of it. I have to give it because you play, you play one game. This sucks. It's gone. You can't. It takes a while because you got to figure a way to figure it in. Then you figure it out. That's how it does. And after 10, if it's no good, it's all right. It's not for me. And I know you guys. You don't hurt your feelings. All right. Well, play old fashioned Deadzone. Who cares?
and please, not only you, coach, but everyone, give feedback.
Yes.
I mean, don't be a douchebag about it,
Yeah.
but
Well, that,
please give feedback because again, we have a living rule book, and if something doesn't work because at some point it's not fun or it's game breaking, and people tell us that we have to change it, we have time to think about it
right.
and can adjust it with the next bigger companion update or smaller update which just like balances things out.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. It's not printed and has to stay the same for 2 years because else it's invalidated. You just paid £20 for it and you can't use it.
hmm
So feedback is really a good thing
hmm
at that point,
Yeah.
you know.
Constructive feedback is. But you know what I hate? It sucks. No. Why does it suck? That's what it is. Like I could
Mm.
say to Claudio, man, you messed up with this. Let me show you why. And like that. And then Claudio can say, well, coach, we did this because of this. And I go, oh, you know what? You're right. I didn't see that. And you have the kind of repartee back and forth. But like I said at the beginning, it's like I've been on your side, and it's a daunting task because you're trying to make everybody happy, but you can't.
Mm.
You can't. But I'm happy, but I'll get to it. I'm not happy. So, real quick, the revisions to existing rules and updating the profiles, unit profiles, I think was good. There was a lot of mishmash, I would say, and it's kind of like things were worded a certain way. You guys clarified that and uh, moved it up. I like the what I really like. I'm gonna nitpick, and then you
Mhm.
can pick out other
Yep.
stuff. I love the fact that I love it and I hate it because I used to use this all the time. The command dice will not be used in the first. The +1 command dice will not be used in the first activation of the round. I love it, but I hate it. I loved when I
Mhm.
was able to do it, and I hated being on the receiving side. So now it's like, well, I have to go, you have to go. Then I can go two guys with my extra command dice. I think that's a groundbreaking change because anybody who had a +1 command dice, I don't know how you guys play over there. Over here, it's you know we're a little bit cutthroat and competitive over here. So we want to play for fun, but you know losing
No, no,
sucks.
no. Makes sense.
Yeah, we want to win. So the +1, once you get that, like I would roll my command. Like, oh yeah, all right. I'm going first this turn, and I got the +1. I'm getting two guys going. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use my shooting dice to shoot him twice, and I'm gonna go again, and I'm gonna use the other shooting dice. It's
Yeah.
like, and it was really really powerful. And then I could just see my opponent on the other side getting his ass kicked, knowing that like, ah man. And when he's going first and he has a +1, you're like, all right, well, I know I'm going to get two guys killed already or three guys because he has an extra model activation and two shooting dice. It's bad. So I think this is a positive change. I really think
Mhm.
it was.
Yeah. I mean, one thing is that zone. Usually, you can always get back into the fight,
Mm-hmm.
even if you have a setback. Most of the times, you still have a chance. Some things hurt more than others, but then maybe you have a good roll and you have a good tactical decision.
Right,
But not being able to do anything, getting shot 4 times by, I don't know, enforcer snipers, maybe half your team is dead already.
right,
And getting extra activations is rather easy because many factions have access to communication relays. Um, it's and then you can only just go fishing for extra shoot die because you have the extra activation
right,
anyway.
right,
It's not fun. We have a game where we just have alternate activations, and then it feels like I shoot and have my complete turn, and then it's your turn, and everything is dead. I mean, it was fun, as you said, if you're pulling it off because it
right,
felt great, but it's just such a feel bad moment for your opponent
right,
that it had to go.
right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Well, now plan accordingly because you know that after the first turn, whoever has an extra activation, the second turn they're going to use it. So you gotta think ahead. I think that's a good thing here. Um, I'm trying to see. Just basically, you guys were you guys were I guess people were gaming the system, so you guys looked at certain things like Combat Blade, just making it more of a understanding of it. It made sense, you
Mm,
know. I remember when when the head of rules committee, when I was on the committee, came up with Combat Blades because he was saying we have ammo and all this stuff. We want to put something for a combat thing, and that was it. But it is a one use. I think that
mhm.
was very, because a lot of people, you think about it, you buy it, you should be able to use it, a combat blade, but it makes sense that, you guys clarified. That's what I like. The clarification in that stuff was really good.
Yeah, many things, keywords and items.
Hmm.
That's why we reworded everything and didn't only get a few changes here and there where we will really fundamentally change the keywords, but
Hmm.
we went through everything because some weren't just as clear as we hoped them
Right.
to be. We had many questions and errata, FAQ, and so on, where we had to you know talk about those those keywords where something wasn't clear. So we went through everything in the hope that we got all the questions that we got over Facebook, Discord, and so on over
Right.
the years, that they are addressed here. And hopefully there isn't anything that is unclear. There will be,
There
of
will be.
course, and then we will change it again
Right.
in the next time, or maybe in the meantime even. So but I think that was really a big part of making it a smooth gaming experience, even
Yeah.
for newer players. And if you don't know something, like the drop suit extra activation didn't work before, but it was because of three things coming together that it's still the same activation, so you couldn't use the extra activation to then
Hmm.
activate the model that came in. Now it's clear. Now it's in the
Right.
rule.
Right. Right.
It's there, and it makes sense.
Hmm.
So it didn't change mechanically, or that part didn't change mechanically, but it's much clearer for
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
read.
Because that was the drop suit was clunky. It was clunky. And you had to read it like
Mm.
50 times. And I just
Yeah.
and what I didn't like at a certain point was the GW explanation. I never liked that. Read the rule. I don't understand it. Or read it again. Well, I don't understand it. Well, you're not getting it. It's simple. Read it again. Sometimes it has to be reworded or reworked because I notice, especially if you've been doing war games for a while. I've been playing since the '80s, so I've been doing this a long time. You can read a rule and you can go either way. It's like,
Mm.
well, this says I can jump over it. Well, no, this says if you read it a certain way, it says you can't jump over it. And it's like I think that's the rules lawyering, which we all know. Sometimes you get a rules lawyer and they'll argue the complete opposite of it. So if it's crystal clear, it makes sense. I do like it. Yeah, I there was a bunch of stuff I thought was great. Let's get to the keywords. You want to now?
Hmm.
I went through every single one of them, and I don't remember every single one of them, but there's a few that stick out to me, but do you want to go over some of the ones that cuz some of them are just word for word because they didn't need
Hmm.
to be changed, but what are the big changes in keywords? That's huge.
So, yeah, we have a few big changes, a few minor changes. So everyone who's played Deadzone should really read them properly, because
Yes.
a few minor things like aerial deployment, you have to be one cube more apart more. So
Okay.
I think it's 3 cubes now. So there are minor things, so
Mhm.
you really have to read them. But the biggest things, or the biggest thing maybe, is the engineer keyword.
Yes.
For me, it's also one of the really fun changes that also change gameplay and list
Mhm.
building, because the engineer went from being an unlocking mechanism for remote units.
Mhm.
Remote was removed, and disarming traps and booby traps, to a unit that can repair and extinguish it burns from vehicles and constructs.
Wow. That's
That's
so medic for constructs and vehicles.
Yes, only ever healing one single wound, so you
Mhm.
can't heal 4 wounds or 4 damage from a strider. But it's also a kind of rebalancing for the walkers who weren't that great. They are centerpieces, they are fun, but most of the times you didn't really bring high AP weapons, because you just had your flamethrowers with it burns. You burn the strider, it has a 5-up survive. No, usually
Right.
you lose your activation, feels bad. And it's still possible, it's still the same,
Mhm.
but you can take an engineer if you really want your strider to do the work. And
Mhm.
then again, your opponent can counter it by killing the engineer if he doesn't have any AP weapons. So that's like a play counterplay thing, which is fun and not only a buff. You can use it, you don't have to.
Mhm.
It opens up a few possibilities to really
But if you take
play it the other way.
if you take a mech army with enough in there, it's good. Here's my
Yeah.
question. When I was reading this, this was my question. I
Mhm.
have a strider.
Yes.
I have an engineer. Uh, any faction, let's just say. I have a walker and an engineer. The walker is a size 4. My engineer is size 1. I can't go in that cube. Does he have to be
Mhm.
just in an adjacent cube to work on him?
Yes, adjacent cube, but on the same level.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can't just go up a tower and you have the engineer behind a wall beneath it, like 3 meters away, and repairing it. So you have a few things you have to consider. when using it, but it's an adjacent cube. You can use it, but it has to be on the same level.
Okay, yeah,
So
because
a bit of a restriction.
that was a big thing early on, second edition, where it was like, well, how are you gonna do anything to a person, same faction in a cube where you're going over the cube limit? But I
Mm,
just think if he's in the cube next to him, and there shouldn't be a wall in between you, right? You should be have like true line of
mm,
sight to him. Yeah,
yes.
just common sense. But you understand the rules, lawyer. Now, I mean, I would do it if it doesn't say I'm in the cube adjacent to him. Yeah, but there's a wall there. Psh, my engineer is so good, he's going through the wall. So there has to be a give and take. What else? What else is another big one in here? I'm trying to look, but I'm sure you would know. Um,
Another big one. Well, I think we changed how it burns works now.
okay.
It's not. It's a big change, but not that complicated. It burns now has a value like
Yes.
the frag or something like that. So we can change the number of dice you throw when doing the shooting attack,
Right.
not the fire. The fire is always 3 dice. It's always the same. Um, but more powerful flamethrowers can now use more dice. So you
Right.
don't rely on the it burns effect afterwards, but on the um, attacking the whole cube effect a bit
Mm.
more. And it's not used that often, but for example, Strider now
Yes.
has the better flamethrower. You have the same weapon, or you nearly have the same weapon. It has had AP and more of a range, but you have that on a trooper. Now you have really a powerful AP1 range 3 4 dice
Mm.
flamethrower attack. That's something.
I know we'll get into Striders later, but I always thought that was something a little thing of contention for me because um, you have a Strider with a flamethrower and the chainsaw. Um, just never took them because I could just take a trooper with a flamethrower and have the same difference. So
Mm,
now it's like it makes sense. You got a trooper with a flamethrower, which is still powerful, but the bigger flamethrower with on a machine should throw gouts and gouts of flame. Should be more powerful. Just thematically, narratively, and just gameplay wise, it should be. I like that a lot. I like the it burns 4 on the Striders as opposed to say it burns 3 on
mm.
the other guys. I think that's a smart idea, and it
And we
makes
can
them
also
viable.
go it burns too.
Yes,
If we really have like a hand flamer, I think the Rebel Teraton now has only it burns 2,
yes,
because it's just about the automatic effect
right,
that
right,
you have the it burns, and extra damage is just like a minor thing.
right.
So we can, you know differentiate a bit more, which is also always a good thing. And I think one thing about the engineer, it doesn't have to be on the same level anymore. I think that was something we had in playtesting, and it was a bit clunky. So engineer is just adjacent cube. That was
Oh, so
one of the old rules in my head
okay,
floating
so
around.
so I can be standing on like one cube above him and then
Yeah,
repair. Okay,
yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, it's
It's
just an
just an
adjacent.
adjacent cube, because otherwise you just we had the point, the argument that
Mm.
otherwise it's just so many things you have to think about. It's cleaner this way.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think that if I may, I think
yeah.
you should put that in to make it more because honestly, now that you're talking about it this way,
Mm,
for me, I'll take an engineer. I was like,
mm,
because in the past, like you said, engineers and medics, the game's too quick. The game's too quick. But if you have, like you said, like a Strider, and you can repair it, like say every round repair 1 wound, 4 rounds, you might be able to do it where the Strider stays along. I like that's a good aspect. It's gonna
mm.
be it's gonna be tough to get it to happen, but it's the
Mm.
fact that you have that option, and then the engineer's
And
still
it's
a
also
viable model.
psychological. It's
Yes,
also a psychological effect for the opponent. He won't shoot his it burns weapon on the strider if he knows there is an engineer nearby.
yeah,
Maybe he won't even target the strider even if he has AP, because he knows the engineer can repair it. So
right.
he's choosing something else until the engineer is gone. So
You know,
I
you
really
just
enjoyed playing
you know
a GCPS list. Yep.
you just put a
Sorry.
big target on every engineer in the in
Yeah,
the in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
universe.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's fun. I had a game with 2 Striders
Uh-huh.
as GCPS with 2 engineers, and I think 1 or 2 tech drones who can also be repaired because they
Hmm.
are constructs, against Forge Father list with an Iron Ancestor, and an engineer. and he didn't really have that much AP because I took out the IP weapon, and he had 2 or 3 flamethrowers.
Hmm.
But he had to hunt down my engineers to then set my striders aflame.
Hmm.
So it's changing the game up if you're using it, and if you don't, it's the same.
Right.
You can still use the normal guys, and it's not an auto include. You have to think about your positioning and your use case,
Hmm.
because it's taking a special action, so one action to repair. You can't run across the field and then repair. So it's a bit of a planning aspect, but I really enjoy it, and
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I like that. I
it's a
think
good
that's
thing.
good because you have a medic for constructs and vehicles. I think
Mm,
that's just something good in the game. It might be a waste of points. You never know because
mm,
you lose 2 engineers right off the bat, and that's it. It it's one of those things like it's such a
mm.
small change that made a huge difference. I really like that aspect. Um, let's see what else. Uh,
One other thing I still remember is Holosight,
yes,
because now we have firing
that's
platform
that's on my list.
for everyone. Firing platform is like the extra die if the weapon is really strong. If it's on a vehicle or not, it doesn't matter. If the weapon is strong, you get an extra die, a bit like Smash. But the Holosight now is more, it's something else, and it's also thematically fitting. You can reroll, you can get an extra die by rolling sevens and eights,
Yeah,
so
blowing
double
up
the
sevens.
chance for exploding dice.
Now that came straight from Halo, right? That was in Halo.
Yes, Halo has it combined. Halo has an extra die and the sevens as
Hmm.
rerolls, but when it was implemented in Halo, I mean, Ian wrote the Halo rulebook, so
Hmm.
and he's the head of the RC. That's something.
Right,
It was clear that we wanted to do something with Holo Sight, and then we saw, okay, in Halo it's working. We don't want it to be as powerful as in Halo. We can still combine Holo Sight and firing platform
right.
if we want to. We didn't do it yet, but it's also something else than just having an extra die or a reroll.
Mm. Now,
And I think, yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that's it, that's it.
All right. I'm sorry. I tend to step on people, so I'm sorry about that. Holosight.
No, no.
A weapon with this keyword treats 7 and 8s rolled during a ranged test as exploding eights. That's the way it's written. Can I use my Holosight now on it burns indirect and explosive weapons? Because in the past you couldn't. Would you be able to now?
It's a range test, so it depends. Explosive weapons, you don't do the damage in the range test.
Right.
You only have to, yeah, a range test to hit, and
Hmm.
then you have the explosive frag attack. So
Okay.
it wouldn't work. It could work. Um, I think on a it shouldn't work on an it burns weapon.
Hmm.
I think. Okay, now I have to, because it's an unmodified test with no modifiers whatsoever, and this
Gotcha.
would be treated as a modifier. Um, and then again, you usually don't get the hollow sight as an item or something like that. So
Okay.
it's fixed in on a weapon.
Right.
So
Right.
there isn't any weapon right now. I think the only way it could work theoretically is the GCPS recon effect gives a troop model frenzy 1 and hollow sight.
Hmm.
Um, but and I have to look it up if it's really um, read as written,
Hmm.
that it doesn't work on it burns. It
Right.
shouldn't work on it burns.
I see it
Yeah,
working like say a burst laser. Like that's where it
yeah,
really
yeah,
would be something crazy. You're rolling buckets of dice and then 7 and 8s explodes. That might be something. Like you want to pin something big like the aberration or you know just the big models that you need to pin and get in there and teratons and things like that. I think that's the whole site's different now. It's good because I like that. It changes it up, but it doesn't. It's not. It didn't get worse. It got.
yeah.
It's
I'm,
on a
I
level
mean,
playing
it's
field.
it's different. Yeah, I think personally having an extra die is better overall because it's more reliable, but you can spike a bit higher with the hollow side. So
Right.
overall, I would say it's a bit worse power level wise, but most units who had hollow side before now have firing platform,
Mm.
and we added hollow side on a few units. We had like, and I think the missile launcher for Forge Fathers and Enforcers got hollow side
Yes.
because for one they are heavy and have AP. They aren't the best units. They're never taken. But now they have they can be really really if you get them with a move die on a good position with height, you get 4 dice with AP5 and exploding sevens and eights. You can get a I mean you can could kill a strider or a walker right away.
We've
And
all played. If you've played Deadzone and you get on an 8 train, now you get on a 7 and 8 train, and
it's double the chance.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know what? It's one of those things. Do you want the +1 dice or do you want the chance to roll more? It's give and
Mhm.
take. I like the +1 dice, but sevens come up a lot. Especially here for us, 777 comes up. It's a big deal. Now if it comes up
So
on,
now, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's a big deal, man. So
And
it
I
could,
mean, stacking extra die on a unit with hollow side now is even better because
yes.
the more dice you have, the bigger the chance, and so on. So and I think for the missile launcher, for example, it's also now better against unarmored units than a rifle. Before
Hmm.
it was just worse because it had AP, and against non-armored units it was bad. And the models also have the like those binocular things with the rocket launcher, so
Right.
thematically it made sense.
Yeah, it made sense. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? What else was changed? I'm trying to look. Um, Medic was changed a little bit, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It it's as good for most of the armies. For enforcers or GCPS it didn't change, but for some units like alpha simians or weapon teams, you can't reliably heal everything at once.
Hmm.
Because those were again, I mean, medics, personally I like them because they give the resilient. That's good already, even without the healing effect. It can be worth it. And we changed a few of the medics to being troops. Um, so they are more accessible, especially for the human troops where everything dies anyway.
Right.
Um, but having those moments where as an alpha simian loses 4 wounds because you're just shooting it the whole time, and then one medic runs in there and with one action everything is gone, could also be one of those feel bad moments.
Right.
It's still it can work,
Right.
that you heal more, and you have to roll on your survive to get more successes and more healing, and you have the resilient because the medic is standing in your cube. So,
Right.
but it's not like something you can completely rely on.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I think that was good, and also moving them to troops. I never took a medic because they were always specialists, so I don't want to waste the slot or pay a troop tax, especially like if you're running, say, enforcers, or they're a little bit pricey. If you're running the plague and you can get all those, excuse me, the cheaper units, you could throw in a medic with that. Pay a troop tax for that. But when you're doing, like, say, Forge Fathers, Asterion, enforces stuff that's expensive. You got to maybe think, like, although I want to keep these guys around, I don't know if I could sacrifice a slot. I would
Mm.
maybe take a medic as a troop, because he could still do his job as a troop, but then heal too. Moving him from specialist to troop is I think that's a good move.
Yeah, we will have to monitor the medics again
Right.
and see if they need more love because they aren't taking as much again, and they were nerfed a little bit, but only as the ceiling of the healing.
Right.
But that's something also we will have to look out.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we will monitor
Yeah.
everything anyway, but a few things are a bit more on the radar, maybe.
I like that. The ceiling of healing. That was good. Um, what else? What else is big changes? I know remote is gone.
Yeah.
It, yeah, I think so. You don't need so you don't have to take an engineer anymore to take old remote items. You could just take it without an engineer. Is that the new way forward? So if I want to
Yeah, I
take
mean,
tac drones or something, I don't need to take an engineer. Although I should, but you don't have to.
yeah, now you're not like penalized for you have to take the engineer, but if you have a tech drone, maybe you want to take the engineer
Right.
to remove damage or remove it burns. So it's more of an incentive to take it opposed to an tax you have to pay.
Mhm.
And we changed a bit a few things so that it couldn't be abused.
Right.
I mean, bomb bots and sentry guns and so on, the maybe we can talk about it here at that point,
Mhm.
that 0 victory point units don't
Yes.
unlock anymore. That was something
Oof.
also we had to keep in mind with the sentry guns and remote gun, so that it's not just a too cheap unlock. But I think we will have to talk about that separately in
Right.
a
Right. Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
But it's something that is connected to remote.
Yeah. That's a chunk we have to talk about. So, um, any other keywords? Because I'm drawing a blank here. There's some.
I mean, we removed a few, like the outcast we introduced is gone again. We removed remote. We changed a bit, like the smoke screen from Cypher's works, or is not works, is worded.
Right.
It's a bit cleaner now. We have one word keyword back that was, I think, in second edition, and
Hmm.
that's non-lethal,
Yes.
because we got a few units now, especially drones, who have suppression weapons, low range com jammers, or in the Hand of the Seven we have the prey scanner, infrared scanner thing,
Hmm.
and we want those to have their effects but don't do damage,
Right. Right.
because they should suppress you because your comms are jammed and you're like on the floor
Hmm.
shaking off your headset and not getting your ears bleeding and
Right.
dying because of the comms jam.
Mm.
So we thought introducing that back is a good idea.
Yeah. I think that's good too. When you have some kind of combat beast and you do a non-lethal, and they say they're uh you know pinned, or and then now you can move into a cube. You have a chance of getting on. I keep using the aberration as a kind of my go-to, and then we move from there. Let's say you have a Kalishi moving into a cube with a aberration. Kalishi's got a good chance, but the aberration has got the size, he's got the dice, he's got the all the attributes. But if you can use a non-lethal to pin him and then move into that, and then you know they get up, but they're surviving.
Hmm.
Um, that gives you a little bit more chance, and that makes those non-lethal weapons a little more viable
Yeah.
than than in the past. In the past, it was like, all right, well, I'm going to blast them off this thing. Well, I'd rather just go kill them. So I think non-lethal weapons honestly should have more of a ability to have an effect than say the killing weapons. So like maybe I don't know if you have a blast weapon, maybe a +1 to shoot all the time. So you're rolling 4 dice as a minimum or something, just because the effect is not lethal. It's non-lethal.
Hmm.
So and I like that you're saying like the comms is messed up or something like that, like a EMP or some kind of thing. But
Hmm.
but then again, like the Night Stalkers have no electronics that they're using. But if you're fighting the Forge Fathers and that, but so it's got to be kind of a well-rounded
Yeah.
against all
Yeah.
factions. You
I
know.
mean, maybe you have some kind of sound waves you're
Yes.
sending that is interrupting the void connection.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to come up with something,
Yeah.
but it makes sense that it shouldn't damage you
Right.
in some cases, and it opens up again a few combinations we can now work with when choosing support units who
Right.
aren't there to kill but having some effect.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
And I think it goes also non-lethal. Another keyword which I just remembered is stun. Stun before was you're never doing damage, but you're activating.
Hmm.
This is still the same, but you can choose now to do damage, because usually the problem with stun var, if you're fighting against someone or shooting at someone who was already activated,
Right.
didn't have any effect. And if it's your only close combat weapon, you're screwed because you're doing nothing.
Right.
And now you can then choose to do damage as normal or use the stun effect.
Okay.
And also, if you're doing it in your opponent's turn because of a breakaway, for example, someone runs out of your cube, you then hit them with a stun weapon. If it gets stunned, if it gets activated, all the actions are gone
Hmm.
immediately. The
Right.
activation is over. So we added stun to the lab technicians in Mason labs.
Okay.
They're only fighting on fives and they have
Mm.
the knockback and under control, but now they have a new role because they don't unlock anymore. Um, they can really screw up your opponent by activating things or
Right.
keeping them in their cube. because now if they win the fight, you don't break away. You're
Hmm.
here, and maybe you even get knocked back and are activated. So
Right.
a bit more utility
Right.
for those units with stun.
Yeah, you know what? That's good because those units were kind of crappy. You would just take them to unlock,
Yeah.
like a troop tax, but you just took them because it's like, all right, you know what? I'll hide them behind. They're so cheap, I can get more support, and then maybe hide them or maybe sneak around and get to an objective. Now they actually, I mean, they're not earth shattering with their combat skills and whatnot, but you can get on, like, you get on an A train and you can stun something that needs to be stunned or knock back something off an objective. Makes them more viable, and maybe people think twice about taking them. You know what? I never take them, but now I'll take two or three just to have them. Um,
Mhm.
they don't
It's
unlock
it's a
anything,
tool.
but yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's just a tool you have that you didn't have before. Same with the Enforcer's Defender, who got the same treatment to be something that fits its role and not
yes.
just another Armor 2 unit. Those we have plenty in the Enforcer list. So it's something we really wanted to have a defining role for maybe some units who didn't have it before.
Right.
And yeah, so stun rework is one
That's
of them.
that's actually, I like that a lot. I read that last night and I said, you know what, this, because I read this a few times, but then it started to sink in last night, I guess, in our preparation for this. But I could see that being a little bit more useful tool. I like
Mhm.
that change. It's like, stun was only good where it was like psychic attacks, but now it makes more sense in that if I have a stun gun or weapon with like a cattle prod or something like the lab techs have, um, comes out good. Um, let's see, is there anything else? I know Walker's got a nice little boost, but in the we'll talk about the army lists,
Yeah,
but yeah.
I think maybe the last one is drop suit,
Uh-huh.
because drop suit had a few
It was clunky as hell.
gamey gamey things. Yeah,
Yes.
so we talked about it already that the extra activation doesn't work. You can't pull down a drop suit and then use the extra activation and activate it right away,
Right.
because everything where your opponent doesn't have a chance to react usually is not that much fun. We're
Right.
talking about fun here, so having a chance to react is something important. And because of that, there is also the addition that the units that are in reserve, because of the drop suit, now count as your units you have to activate.
Mhm.
So you just can't pass the whole time and then with your last activation call in a drop suit, who then calls in a drop suit and five other drop suits, because you were passing the whole time waiting
Right.
for the opponent to be done, and then you have 5 units you can activate after the opponent is through his activations.
Wow. See,
So
I never even thought of that. If I would have known that, I would have been. I would.
yeah, that's it.
I
It's
would have
nasty,
been
and
doing
that's not
that.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And
that's
so
dirty.
we changed that this doesn't work anymore. Drop suits they are strong. I mean,
Yeah.
you just had one of your last battle reports. You had the ferromites dropping down there,
Oh yeah.
chewing through everything. So um, making them a bit more limited in their uses and abuses
Right.
was something we wanted to do.
Now, let's go through this. How is it now with the drop suit? So in the
Yep.
past, they just dropped in. They would be wherever they want. They have to be a certain amount away, and then they activate, and then they just crush everything. Like you said, the
Mhm.
Ferromites, which was I think the Ferromites were the most abusers of drop suit.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
it's nearly the same. You can call them with a special action. Then
right.
the model lands on a cube on the topmost level. Can then make a dice roll to knock models back.
Hmm.
They have to survive against it, but you can't use an extra activation in the turn where you called the drop suit on the drop suit model. So
Okay.
you can't just have a gunslinger there or a scuttler calling the drop suit using the extra activation command die, activate the drop suit model, and then charge into something.
Right.
The opponent then has 1 round, or with if he has or they have an extra activation, 2 rounds to do something against the model that dropped in. So
Right.
maybe if you drop somewhere it's standing in a clear shot range because there is usually you drop in there wherever you want, use the extra activation, and you don't have to worry about scatter terrain or something in the
Mm-hmm.
way. So the opponent can react. And if you're holding them back so that you, I don't know, you have 3 drop suit units, you want to call them in the end, you have to activate them before you pass. So they can then come in, can be called in, but they come in activated already.
Right. Oh, so when
So
they come in, they're activated now. Is that
not always,
mm,
only if you're using them to pass. So if you have like 10 units on the field
right?
and 2 drop suits, and you just say, okay, I don't want to activate anything anymore because I only have 1 unit left, but I have those 2 drop suit units, and you can't pass anymore because the opponent also has like 3 activations left. You have to choose either to activate your 1 model on the table or one of your drop suit models, and that model then comes in activated. If
Okay.
you don't activate them in order, they come in and can be activated.
Okay.
So it counts as if they would be on the table for model count,
Right.
to see who's first and so
Yeah.
on.
Because it's not really a nerf, but they were so OP. So and
Yeah,
I know we did a video about like how to change it, and I don't know if you guys watched it, but you did exactly what I said, which makes my heart feel good that I'm.
yeah. I it felt, or it was hard for me not to comment. Wait for it, wait for it.
Yeah.
we
Just
we have it here.
yeah.
But I
Just do
had
that.
to
Say
keep
you
it.
know we got you, coach. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. So. So that's pretty much the big changes. There's some little minor changes, but
Yeah,
nothing earth
read through
shattering.
them.
Yeah,
But those are like the bigger ones. Yeah.
yeah. Now we're gonna take a break, but I want to talk about this. Zero VP models don't unlock specialists anymore, so I can't take 25 zombies and unlock specialists. I got to put some dudes in there with one VP at least. Um, what's up? Tell me the thinking behind that.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's bad. I
Yeah.
actually agree with it. But
Yeah.
what was the thinking behind that?
So I mean, we have a few more units with 0 VP now than we had at the beginning, maybe in second edition and even at the beginning of third edition. Um, and the problem is they can break the game a little bit if you spam them. I mean, they seem to be thematic lists, but most of the time they're a bit of game breaking lists because your opponent doesn't get anything, and it's really hard to win because you have to table or get more victory points. So
Right.
it's a bit of a feel bad, but we didn't want to remove that. Um, Often those 0 victory point models were also taken not because of their stat line or anything, but because they were the cheapest, not giving away victory points, and then you buy everything you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something we really liked in list building. So many units who didn't have a clear role now got a better role but don't unlock anymore. They
Okay.
don't need to be unlocked, so they are a bit like living legends. Troops with 0 victory points don't need to be unlocked but don't unlock. Um, and you can't just take 20 zombies and 5 HMGs and 2 mortars to supplement them. Then you have to take a dog or a ghoul to unlock. So it's
Right.
those cheesy combinations are gone. But then again, those units who have 0 victory points and not a clear role now have one. So you want to take it because they don't give away victory points and because of what they do.
Right.
Zombies got better, for example,
Yes,
because their
they did.
survive went down or up or to 7,
Right.
so that's worse. But they have 2
Two
HP
health
now.
points. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the chance that they survive an attack, maybe for shooting it's nearly the same,
Mm-hmm.
but for attacking it's a big difference
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
before they just had to lose by 1 and they were gone, and they needed to win for getting the horde bonus running. So now if you want to fight with a normal guy that fights on 5 ups against a zombie, it's hard to kill the first one, and then it's hard to get rid of them.
Right.
So you should want to take zombies because of the horde rule, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not giving away victory points, and
Right.
not because you have 3 unlocks to get your 3 teratons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The zombies they got worse and better at the same time. So
Mm.
it's like you said, it's a balancing act. I the only thing we used to say was, um, not that it wouldn't unlock, but the zero VP guys could not hold objectives
Mm,
because if you take 20 zombies, there's a good chance of them still surviving. And like, say that's good for backboard control. Like, the closer the objectives to your deployment zone, you can kind of get your heavy hitters up front, and then the zombies would kind of scurry
mm.
forward and just sit on objectives. But they still can hold objectives now.
Yeah, yeah. Was a thought about that with the zero victory points, not giving. But then I think no one would take the zero victory point models.
Right,
There are a few who are specifically for that, made for that.
right,
For example, the veer-myn thralls.
right.
They are fast and zero victory points. They even got a bit of a survive nerf, but because they have a defined role, they are for objectives, for
Mm-hmm.
nothing else.
Right, right.
Um, but we wanted to keep that. And if you're taking now the 20 zombies and actually winning, because you can't take now 17 zombies and 3, 4 teratons, because then you have to take dogs for unlocking the teratons, and then you give away more victory points already.
Right,
And most of the times, those zero victory point lists worked better if you had some supporting, like
right, right.
suppression weapons, frag
Yes,
weapons,
I agree.
some AP weapons. If you take the recruit spam, and this is taken out now, so the efficiency of complete zero victory point list plus a few key supporters is now gone. It,
So,
it can still be done if you
right.
want to, and it's a fun thing
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
here and
yeah.
there,
I love doing
but
that.
but
Yeah.
it's not as easy to maybe navigate or break the game.
Right. So instead of 20 zombies, take 15, take 4 dogs, and then you can unlock everything else, and it's not too
Yeah,
bad. Always got to take
but
a stage one.
then I kill the 4 dogs and maybe the other things, and I get those VP I need
Yes.
together with the mission objectives to actually win the game
Right.
because you're
Right.
not denying everything.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. I think this was when I first heard. I'm like, oh, this is crap. But then I thought about it. And I'm like, you know what? It's actually with me, my first reaction's like, but then as I've gotten older, I've gotten wiser, and I'm like, all right, so let me think about it. But when I heard that, I was like, I think that's a good idea because, like you said, the spamming, whatever, which is a viable list. Don't get me wrong, but you could still do it. Just you're not going to get this benefit anymore. I like that.
Mm,
I think that was a positive change in the right direction. Um, they could still hold victory points. I get it. I get it. I was
mm,
I was thinking the same, but not hold victory points. But now that they don't unlock, all right, we won't unlock, but we could still hold victory points. It makes
yeah.
it makes sense. I think that's a uh, really good change there. I think you guys, that was a good thing. You're getting attacked by a tiger.
Yeah.
So,
It's
um,
my floofy aberration.
yes. So what we'll do is let's take a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll break down some of the changes to the lists. All right, guys, we are back. I am here with my man Claudio, the only brave rules committee member who wanted to talk to me. So now what we did was we've gone over all kind of the cool mechanics of the game, the keywords, the missions, all that great stuff. Now I don't know if it's the most important thing, but it's kind of important to me is breaking down the lists. We're gonna go over, I mean, we could talk for another 4 hours, but I'm sure Claudio's got to
Yeah.
get to bed. But let's go over highlight some of the stuff. Like let's talk with the Asterians. We'll go in, I guess, in order here. Um,
Mhm.
the Asterians. A few things that changed. Why? How come the say like the Black Talon Prime and the Black Talons they lost jump pack but they get flight? What was the reasoning behind that?
The reasoning is that jump pack got changed a little bit,
Hmm.
and flight is nearly the same, like from their movement. Um, they now can move a bit better. They are only movement 1, 2, so it's not a big deal. But moving over those gaps fits better the flight keyword than the jump
Hmm.
pack. So that's more of a minor change to the old rules.
So you can do, let's say, use a move dice. You can actually jump over 2 spaces because you're gonna move.
Yeah.
You can move instead of 1, 2. You move two, three. If you sprint across it, you'll get two things. And flight is better because I know jump pack you can only go against one space. So actually, flight is better when it comes to that. What else changed here? Let me see. Um, wasn't too many changes. I like the changes to the gas clouds. Um, that was, I think you guys did the last update where you in the old days it didn't make sense to me that you would have to drop a cloud at the beginning of your turn
Mhm.
and then like say ciphers um, are more shooty. So you drop a cloud, but then I got to step out of a cloud to shoot, and then I won't be able to step back. It didn't make sense
Yeah,
to me. I like the fact you can drop it either before or after. It makes sense if you're sitting
yeah.
on an objective and you say you take a few shots and then you drop the cloud to put yourself in cover. It makes more sense to me, and also the Asterians are these you know, intelligent beings. Why can they not figure out how to drop something before or
Yeah,
after? It never made sense to me. I think that's a good idea, and I like the way the change to the clouds are with the toxic three and things like that. I think that's a good
it's a
thing.
bit streamlined now.
Yes.
It's nearly the same, but it's a better wording. You don't have to look up three, four keywords just to get it
Right.
going, and it's sometimes a bit overlooked. If you look at the ciphers, you see the profiles, you see the
Mm-hmm.
weapon, but this is something now with a keyword on its own. And
Mm-hmm.
as you said, uh, when we decided in third edition to have it at the end or the beginning, it's something you can really use, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not just a gimmick that you forget about.
Right. Now the support drones, they have an engineer. Can they repair themselves or can they repair other drones? How is that supposed to work? Because it's
Engineers should only work on other
okay.
constructs and vehicles, so you can't repair yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But you have marionettes and you have sky razors and the spectra and so on that can be repaired, and ciphers can lose or can be extinguished when they burning, which hurts ciphers because they only have a 5 up survive. So because they only have 1 HP, you can't repair them, but
Right.
they are still useful around ciphers.
Yeah, it's funny because it seems like the engineers are the only ones who can navigate a fire extinguisher in dead zone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's about um, overheating the constructs or
Mhm.
the walkers and vehicles, and to fight against the overheating is easier than maybe putting out a living person with
Right.
clothes on. But
Mhm.
maybe we will see a fire extinguisher or a medic or whatever who can do that in the future.
That
I
might be
mean,
a good
it's a testing
an
ground.
item, fire
Yeah, maybe.
extinguisher item.
Yeah,
Put out.
just so.
Yeah, or like something they drop and then the foam goes and puts everybody out. Takes the cube and puts them out of fire or
Yeah,
something
I
like
mean,
that.
we don't want to remove the it burns effect completely because
Hmm.
that's something. It's good that it's there. It's a
Yeah.
control mechanism. So we were wary about adding it somewhere else. But I think if you're taking an engineer, you usually have a clear target
Mm.
it's supposed to guard and support. Here, it's a bit more open, but
Mhm.
the I think it's a bit a shame that the support drones were on the sprue of the marionettes. They look cool. Even also the marionettes are also looking good. But in
Mhm.
that zone, both units weren't really taking that
No.
much, especially the support drones. And we made sure now that they are different because they are also faster. And I think that's
Mm.
maybe the biggest change,
Yeah.
so that you can line up those clear shots, on objectives when you're not using Kalishi. They are different enough from the marionettes.
Right. You put two support drones together and one can heal that and then the other one they could kind of go back and forth. And it's
Yeah.
it's it's true what you're saying because I was going through I want to I want to flesh out my Matsudon and I was going through my stuff and I have 5 sprues of marionettes. So I want to print up the wakizashi and the katanas to make them for specifically for the Matsudon. And as I'm going through my stuff, I see I have a bunch of pulse bombards and all the fission, everything in a pile that I never use, and I'm like, okay, so we got to get these, um, you know, the not the support drones, but
The weapon
the
drones.
weapon drones because they are good, but they're a little they're a little clunky. I think if you put a support drone in with them to just help out and maybe have a, for lack of a better word, a medic in there with them,
Hmm.
it works out better. It could work out good. I'm
Yeah, I
starting to
mean
see
they
some
have.
combinations.
Yeah, the support the weapon drones have plenty of hit points, not a good survive, but usually they don't die from being shot once.
Right,
Maybe
right.
you can then repair them and have them a bit more effective.
Mm,
So yeah, yeah,
yeah, and I
a
know
few new combinations here.
yeah, yeah, no, it's the more like as we're talking and we're seeing stuff, and I start to see things unlock that become kind of symbiotic with each other. Like, because I don't really never took the support drones, but maybe you would want one just because to use it in that fashion. One thing though I will say is that I see across the board here is that indirect went from 8 to 6, and while I like it, it's like what we talked before. I think it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. I love being able to sit in my deployment zone and reach out and touch somebody in their deployment zone.
Hmm.
But now I have to like, well, maybe that first round, nothing's worse than you have four guys in a cube. You indirect weapon, mortar weapon, and you hit that cube, and they bounce all over the freaking place. Like you have to get your you have to get more successes. Guy usually does. Maybe throw an extra dice in there. That's what I used to do. I'll throw, I'm all right. I'm shooting at these guys. I don't have line of sight, so I need more successes. I'll throw an extra two dice in there just in case. Boom. All right, here we go. I have uh, I have my successes. Then I roll it. Roll the power. Four dice. Maybe explode five, six dice. Scatter everybody all over the place. They're either dead or they don't they're pinned, so you got to waste an action to get up when you're trying to get in position,
Mm.
and that sucked. So now
Yeah.
you have no choice but to move a mortar and use a shoot dice if you have to, or use a move dice, and you got to get closer. I think that's not a bad change. It seems like, if I'm correct, Claudio, um, it seems that's through the whole army. Everybody went from 8 to 6.
Yes. Every mortar. I mean, it's a bit weird that mortars aren't shooting over the whole board.
Mm-hmm.
I know thematically, um, but then again, it's again one of those points where it's not much fun to be at the receiving end,
Right,
especially if you don't have enough terrain that you have, you know, like buildings and ceilings that save you from the indirect.
right.
It was just like, okay, I'm just getting shot at. But on the other hand, if you look at the missions, many of the missions have deployments that are closer, so aren't always the edge to edge,
Right.
but are a bit closer because you have, like, one in there. So at some point, you many missions you can still shoot in the deployment zone, and
Right.
that's okay. I mean, that's if you're fighting against a melee focused army, melee focused army, they are reaching you faster, but then again you can shoot them with your indirect weapon,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
it evens out a bit. But on those long edges, stacking everything together, that's not fun. So
Right.
we removed them nearly everywhere. I think for indirect, I think everywhere. For the frag weapons, many went down. One of the exceptions maybe is the missile launcher weapon team, because it's
Mm-hmm.
a heavy weapon.
Right.
So you're limited by how you deploy it anyway. So it's not as bad. But yeah.
You
So
got to. I think with the heavy weapons teams, you got to have a powerful thing because you really can't move and it's heavy. So it
yeah,
should be powerful. And then if you do get a chance to get it off, it should be
yeah,
um,
it's rewarding
it
then.
should be
Yeah.
rewarded that you actually have that. And also, like, say, the missile launcher, this is one of my things in Deadzone. um, I don't like to take the stationary guys who shoot straight. Indirect, I
Mhm.
understand, because when we play, I know if you've ever seen one of our battle reports, we put too much terrain on, And I like the fact that there's so much terrain because it's got to be CQB, 4 or 5 levels high. Um, you know, in like even with us, you put so much terrain on, you don't have that. Sometimes it's like, oh, okay, well, I have a size 3 building in my deployment zone. I'll throw my snipers up there. It doesn't matter. I'm going to
Mm.
indirect you. So there's no, reach out and touch somebody. But the stuff that shoots straight for me was always a challenge. So like
Yeah.
a fission beamer, it can move, but you're gonna waste a shoot dice. I think like the heavy weapon teams and stuff like that. I never really took them. I like the indirect better, but indirect is also hit or miss, pun intended.
Mm.
But you know,
Yeah. I mean, the Fission Beamer lost heavy now,
right?
has AP3 and dismantle and lost heavy, so that's really a good choice now for
Yeah,
a
that
good
that's
AP weapon.
badass,
It
man.
only hits on fives, only,
Right?
um, because you have the ciphers hitting on threes, but it's a viable weapon now,
Yeah. It's
much more
it's
viable than
much
before.
much much better. So that's yeah, that I noticed too. That was great. Real quick, I know I heard you on the Mutt podcast talking about the Cipher Wardens, which are basically my favorite Asterion model. They got that kind of Iron Man pose to them. Now, what's changed with them? Because I know you wanted to. You were saying,
Mhm.
I know one of the mandates that comes down from Mantic is there are certain units that aren't being played. Write better rules so that people will put them on the table, which is okay. How did the Cipher Warden change?
So the normal warden or every warden got energy shield 1.
Okay.
It's not much, but it's no extra point cost there, so a bit more survivability. And they got a specialist.
Mm,
So they now have the flare gun, which is on the new plastic sprue, and the flare gun is a range 3 suppression weapon. And Asterians don't really have suppression weapons. They
right.
have the Matsudan suppression and they have frag weapons, but they don't have a weapon with suppression. So now you have a range 3 option, which can also be used as a close combat weapon with AP1
Okay.
and suppression in close combat. And the normal Cypher Wardens can benefit from that because as constructs, they don't get pinned by the suppression that the specialist can do. So if you're combining a Cypher Guardian with the flare gun,
Hmm.
suppressing something in close combat,
Right.
and then you charge in there with your Kalishi, you can't use the weapon again because then you would suppress you pin your own Kalishi.
Right.
But
Right.
if you're throwing a Cypher Warden in there, that fights on force and is rather cheap,
Right.
he can then always fight against the pin. So they're benefiting from their own um, special weapon a bit more.
Right. So now the focused flare gun, is that a cube thing or is it a?
It's the same. The whole cube, including the model using it, will be pinned.
Okay.
But because the Cypher Warden is a construct, the Cypher won't be pinned, but everything else,
Right. Right.
including
Okay.
your own models.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was saying dismantle and suppression, but it's close combat. I think that might be one of those needs a little bit more because if you read it, focus flare, close combat, AP1, which is really nice, dismantle and suppression, but it doesn't say it affects the whole cube. I think that might
Well,
be
it's in the keyword section.
okay.
Suppression. The wording has changed so that it's clear because before it didn't really work for close combat weapons, only for shooting
Right,
attacks or something like
right,
that.
right.
The wording was. It's changed now that the whole cube with
Okay,
fights
so that's
or
in the keywords.
shoots will be. Yes,
Okay,
in the
okay,
suppression keyword, it's
okay.
in there.
Yeah, you guys are smarter
So
than me, so
it,
okay, makes
it
sense.
works the same
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
like a burst laser, which automatically suppresses or pins the whole cube.
I'll tell you what, man. That's almost like he comes with like the death punch and hits the guy and suppresses him, and then everybody else gets suppressed in the cube. That's pretty cool. I like that. You know what? For 15 points, HP1, you know, which is that's the balance. But
Mm.
that's the Cipher Guardian's pretty much that's a powerful thing
I
there.
mean, and you still have defense cloud, so you could drop that toxic smoke in there
Right.
and then suppressing something or pinning something with the suppression AP1 gun. And if it's not dead, another warden can then go in there fighting on 4 ups with
Hmm.
extra die for charging, extra die for fighting against a pinned target.
Right.
pin target only surviving, and toxic 3. Now they can work together better, because before you always took a Kalishi or maybe even a Matsudan if you wanted to fight,
Right.
never a Cypher Warden.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
this combination, the normal Warden got buffed indirectly too with a new weapon.
Yeah, I always liked the Cypher Wardens, just couldn't get them to work. But this might be a little bit
Yeah.
more of a, like
Yeah.
they're going to have to be in tandem with each other, but it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Matsudan don't really work with the Cypher Guardian
Mm-hmm.
because they are honorable. You can then knock back things. So it's really specifically. I know honorable. It's specifically for the Warden
Yeah.
interaction.
I think I just I know my my
Yeah.
whole rap on that. I think you know we won't talk about the Macedon or the Nameless because they're still kind of
The Night
beta-ish and
Stalker.
brand new. No, I'm sorry, Night Stalkers.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think Honorable belongs in there. I think it should be changed where um, it should be changed to something else. I just that's just me.
I mean, we changed it for the Matsudan, and it's now all for everyone changed, also for the Assyrians, of course. So you can now fight without doing damage.
Hmm.
But one big thing we changed last year is that you can't just leave the cube
Right.
without hitting them, because before that was like the weirdest thing with honorable models. You just
Yes.
run out, you can break away for 3 and then clear shot them. That was a big problem, but we changed that because that's not a really honorable thing for the enemy to do, to run away.
Right.
So now you can hit them as normal when they are breaking away, and most of the Matsudan units got tenacious.
Right.
So you're also losing a survive die because they don't want the enemy to flee, because that's not honorable. So
Okay.
that's maybe we took like half of it
It's
out of
better,
the
but I still
original
hate
program. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's fair.
it. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about enforcers. Unless anything else about Asterians or
I mean, Matsudan got buffed. The Syrians also benefit from that. They have just a 4-up fight now,
right.
which makes them way better. Even the shooty guys now can fight on 4-ups with the size. That's fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, so enforcers. There's a big overhaul on enforcers. I kind of like what
Yeah.
happened. I've always said, for enforcers and forge fathers are way overpriced and way over VP'd. Now, don't get me wrong. They are very good. Both
Mm-hmm.
factions very good. If you play them the right way, they're good. But they are very overpriced where you couldn't take stuff. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that um, making stuff a little cheaper and also bringing down the VPs because you would kill an enforcer captain and you would get like four VPs. That was real, or peacekeeper. I'm sorry, peacekeeper captain. 4 VPs. That's a lot of VPs,
Mm.
and
And the
he's
normal captain surviving as well as any other enforcer,
right.
giving away 3 VPs was, yeah.
It was a lot. It was, you know, they're very survivable, especially you take the captain with Bastion. It was great, and then but you always had to put a defender shield on him. You had to do it because you want to save your leader. But I think now it's a little bit more less of a VP blow, because if you're playing Enforcers or you're playing Forge Fathers, don't worry about the troops. Let's kill all the big stuff, and then I'm at 20 points.
Mm.
So I think this is a good. I mean, I know I'm being biased here, but it made sense because I know by playing the Enforcers, my first faction from when I got Deadzone the first time, it was Enforcers and Plague, and I was playing Enforcers. I was like, man, these guys are so freaking expensive. But that was good. The thing that really got me, before I get to the thing that's really pissing me off, but the thing that really got me was um, that the enforcer enforcer is cheaper and 1 VP. The
The
um,
operative,
the operative, which
yeah. The
I'm
normal enforcer,
the
yeah.
normal enforcer. So I'm trying to get it here because I know it's here it is. The yeah, the oh, there it is, Cipher Warning. Yeah, so I remember being on the rules committee. They were like, okay, an enforcer is 16 points, armor 1, two VP. That's your base. Now everything else stems from that. And I used to say that I think that they're not they're not that good. I know they got armor and they shoot really well and stuff. They shoot on fours and whatnot, but they're really not worth two VPs. It just you know, and then it came to a point where it wasn't taking them because the other troops were better. Now with that, making them cheaper, making them one VP, it just opened up my mind. Like, oh, I got to take more operatives. Um,
Yeah, I think the problem is I know people who got into enforcers and maybe build one or two operative rifles
right,
and not more because they weren't just worth it.
right,
The problem is they are rather survivable with the 4-up survive and the armor. That's nice, but they just shoot on fours. No special thing on their weapons.
right,
Um, they die as quickly as many others, so they aren't worth those two VPs. That's the problem. I mean, it's a whole other discussion about the VPs because then again we have rep troopers who survive on 6-up and give one VP,
right,
and now the enforcer with 4-up and one armor is the same. So there is a gap in there. So like 1.5 VPs. Sometimes I would wish we had that. So
yeah,
because it's the one VP slot is really the one where it's difficult to decide, because if you're killing two enforcers, it's really harder than killing three GCPS Marines or four Rep Marines
right,
and or Rep Troopers. So, but two VP were too much. The enforcer had to come down. They
mm,
had to be worth the points, and you should want to take them.
right, right,
Because 15 points for a rifle on 4-up is still not the damage output,
right.
the overwhelming damage output.
The
But you know they
survivability,
are,
but not the damage
yeah, they are
output.
reliable. They are
Yes,
reliable all
yes,
around. And if you don't have AP and you have like 5-up shooting guys, you won't kill an enforcer operative,
right,
or not that easily. So they are still good, but this is now you want to take them.
right.
Now you want
No,
want a few of them. They
when I
are reliable.
when I read that, I thought that was great. Um, I know the assault peacekeepers are good, this and that. Here's my thing though. I have an issue. So, um, we have a Pathfinder engineer, a specialist, tag, pistol, all this stuff. Now they have dismantle, which is kind of cool. It makes sense. A Pathfinder is usually a sniper, sniper light, and if they have dismantle, makes
Dismantle
makes sense.
is just on the engineer though.
Right, right. But what I'm
So
saying
it's, yeah,
is like a Pathfinder sniper light engineer should know where to shoot
yeah,
and dismantle. It makes sense.
they are
My
really trained for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
My thing is this though. I'm going back to the Warpath, uh, um, the crappy Warpath Kickstarter, which was good for models but bad for the game. That the original
Hmm.
Warpath book. And we had the three. We had Warpath, we had the Firefight, and then we had the lore book. In that
Hmm.
lore book, it says that the Pathfinders are like the special forces of, uh, the enforcers. But why do they fight on sixes? Now here's my argument. Here's my argument. They are the nanites are in them, and they have the best things. They are the special forces. They shoot good, all this stuff. They fight on sixes, but you have regular humans like the riot troopers fight on fours. Why
Hmm.
is it that a dude can fight better than a Pathfinder? I was just my personal thing. I would have brought down their combat a little bit more to at least 4 or 5, increase the price a little bit, and give them like a decent combat weapon. So they're a little bit more, because the Pathfinders right now are very just one dimensional. They just shoot. You get them in combat, ugh, it's
Yeah.
almost. But even like Kalishi, you got to shoot Kalishi before they get in combat, or you're screwed, right? That's the main thing. Like, oh my God, there's 6 Kalishi coming. I got to kill them all. That's
Yeah.
that's the only way to deal with them, unless you have a combat monster. Which, for whatever reason, Brockers are really good against Kalishi. But like, what was the thinking there? Why are the Pathfinders so? They went from so good, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
yeah. What was the thinking on that?
Well, I think it's a bit of a historic thing that before, since first edition, the normal fight stat was a 6-up. That's why enforce before GCPS existed, enforcers every enforcer had a 6-up fight, and the ghouls had a 5-up fight and were better, and the specialists had 4-up fight.
Right.
That changed over time. That changed also for the enforcer operatives to go down on 5-ups, also because of their armor supporting them. Then we have the normal marine with fights on 6-ups, where we're back again at the normal fighting thing. Whereas veterans are those who survived so much, seen so much, they fight better.
Right.
The 4-up on Riot Troopers was also something when we redid the Riot Trooper now, because I also remember one of the first videos when the third edition dropped, where I said, well, Riot Troopers are the better enforcers now,
Yeah.
because they are armor 2 and so on, and fighting with force. Well, it was more of a balancing thing that GCPS needed something. I think the new Riot Troopers are better, but we had a discussion about should they have a 4-up fight or not, because they are just the humans, and the better humans already have a 5-up. In the end, we decided we go with a 4-up instead of like some kind of frenzy, because they needed a better fight stat to be viable.
Hmm.
Same for the close quarter marines, because with a 5-up we tried it. It's useless.
Hmm.
You need something to counter other close combat units,
Hmm.
at least a bit, and it didn't work out. So we had to change that. I mean, we changed the GCPS. Many of the 4-up survives to a 5-up survive with resilient, which
Right.
is nearly the same, but it was also to differentiate them from the enforcers, to show they are just humans. They don't
Hmm.
survive better because most of them are just humans. Maybe they have better reflexes or training. That's why they get the resilient. With the Pathfinders, they are the ones that didn't make the cut this time. I'd
Right.
say this way, because now they are in a weird spot. But we really didn't have an answer for now, because the operative got better, the peacekeeper got more expensive. Scout is only a one move now, so the
Right.
Pathfinder got hit a bit because the operative is cheaper now and only one VP. Um, but we didn't really feel it was like it's the moment where we can focus on the pathfinders. We have to see how the other changes affect the whole list, but the pathfinders surely are ones, because they are the elite troops. The 5-up, the 6-up fight is weird. I'd say those are the ones who probably are next up for a revision,
Because
at least.
it seems like everything that happened, they got worse. It's like from
Mm,
where they started to where they are now, they 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 really got nerfed a lot. And I think also the nerfing of them was tag, when tag
yeah.
was replaced. I think you know you got to give, especially the enforcers, you got to give them a little something. And I think that the tag and the things like that just made sense, because these guys are they're not just the regular humans. These are the uh, you know genetically modified with nanites and all this stuff. Like,
Mm,
if you read any book about pathfinders, or I'm sorry, about enforcers, it's
mm.
like they're the superhuman. So, I just think that
Yeah.
I think maybe they're, well, I humbly request that look at Pathfinders for the next update, or the Living
Yeah.
Rule Book. And I think
Yeah.
tag and that was a really good combination.
I mean,
I
we
think you guys changed it because I was the biggest proponent of it, just to piss me off. But
no, I'm sorry, but it wasn't about you.
yeah.
but it's tag is something. I mean, we played around with the tag in the Hand of the Seven,
Right.
with the prey, just for the shooting thing. Having this, we had a few thoughts about it. I mean, those themed lists were also a playground for us,
Yes.
using existing ideas or also existing changes in those lists already. Um, but I, Pathfinders and tag are surely a thing we have on our radar,
Yeah.
because personally I think the splat is cool and the interaction is cool.
Hmm.
But I, right now, with the enforcer operative being on the menu again, because
Hmm.
before it was just like either take pathfinders or you take peacekeepers,
Hmm.
because pathfinders are just better operatives because they shoot a little bit better
Right.
or have scout. Um, so we'll have to see how that affects the Pathfinders, and those I can promise are surely something we will look at. I
Okay.
can't promise if we really bring back the old tag,
Mm.
or maybe we get something new.
Something new, yeah. Something
Yeah,
to
I think
make them
I
stand
think
out a little bit. You know.
yeah, I think the old thing with the taking an action was a bit clunky again, because it's less movement, more just standing and shooting. So
Mhm.
that's something personally I didn't like as an interaction.
Right.
Um, but having them a better shot, or giving them something else than the normal rifle, is aside from taking the Pathfinder
Yeah.
Sergeant, where you want to take two Pathfinders to supplement something,
Right.
is something we will be looking at.
Yeah. I thought because the thing tag was when Prey came out, and I was like, okay, it's a combat thing. Okay, great. It lasts for one round. Oh no, it lasts the whole game. Tag
Mm,
was nice because you would be able to. It was a short action. You would shoot, and it was like basically non-lethal. You would just tag somebody, but then everybody else gets a shot. But it only lasted per round.
mm,
So I was like, but you mean to tell me I get this like say jelly on me and it's stuck on me, and then everybody can come pray, but the the enforcer scientists can't figure out a way to replicate that for shooting. I just thought that was kind of
mm.
clunky. But hey, listen, that's my one pet peeve. Although everything else I love. I love the fact that the Striders came down in price, and it makes a lot of sense because I wouldn't take an Ajax Strider. Actually, I have an Ajax Strider that I painted and I put on a base that I put in a painting competition. So he's on a like a on a 8-inch round base
Okay,
on a bridge that 2 Adepticons ago I put in. I won. I'm just bragging a little bit,
nice.
but and he's on there and I can't use him because he was 50 points. Now, I
Yeah,
mean, all right, don't get me wrong, 46 is hefty, but everything the new unit profile and what you upgraded them, I think it's viable because when you think about Mantic, and they used to say, people used to complain about their models. No one complained about the Strider model, and the
yeah.
fact that the Striders were great models and great weapons and stuff, but everybody's got them on the side because they weren't worth it. I think this was a really good. This is all across the board. Everybody who has Striders. Um,
Mhm.
I think it's that was good because I think looking at it now, if I just take a regular Strider with the new um, with the assault flamer, it burns 4, making a really good
The
thing.
Enforcer Flamethrower now is a menace.
Yes,
4 dice, AP1, range 3 on
yes,
4 ups on the whole cube.
yes.
That's brutal.
That's brutal. But it should be because it's this big,
Yeah,
huge arm of a flamethrower on a mech that is size 4, which is tremendous. It should be something.
Flamethrower is as big as a human,
Yeah,
maybe even bigger.
yeah. That was my big thing when I was on the rules committee. We were talking, and I was like, why isn't the chainsaw and the um, flamer more brutal? Like the flamer should be better, and um, the chainsaw should be like AP3 or something because it's huge. And there's like AP2 weapons that foot soldiers have, but then you have this huge
Mm.
chainsaw and it doesn't do anything. I just never understood that, but I'm glad the Striders got some love. You know,
Yeah, and for me personally, something that was a bit overlooked also from a few people commenting when the changes came out is the firing platform,
right?
which, because people were like, okay, is there a second weapon or something like that? No, but there are still the old options no one ever took, because it was just a waste of
Yes.
points, because you have your weapon, why should you use something else?
Mhm.
But now with firing platform, getting the shoulder rockets, who got buffed in range, they are now
Mhm.
range 4,
Yes.
or the smoke launchers can really be smoke launchers, not maybe for enforcers, but overall they're a good option. And an Ajax Strider with the one-use shoulder rockets and then throwing the spear
Mhm.
is in the same turn, walking onto an objective, throwing people around, maybe even killing them,
Right.
is a menace.
Yeah.
It's really working now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because you're getting for a few points an extra frag grenade if you want to.
Mhm.
Um, but, but it's only costing you 6 points, no action, you're losing. You usually can always pull it off because the strider won't be dead
Right.
until it uses it. So usually, for me, it's worth the points. Also on the assault profile, going in there, flamethrower and a frag, and
Hmm.
maybe even fragging something and then charging.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
works.
It's brutal, and that's good because um, the enforcers, other than like say AP weapons and stuff, really didn't have an answer for the big uglies. You know, from the
Yeah.
nameless, the Goliath, or um, you know, especially the plague now has big Griblies and stuff. Um, the Strider can hold its own again. It's back. It's like Strider's back, baby. It's good. Um,
And then take an engineer, and it won't just burn away from
right,
a 8-point trooper.
right, exactly. That's what, and that's now the engineers are more viable. You take two Striders, you got to take at least two or three engineers. But engineers are troops, and they're basically operatives, which is great now. I think that's good. All right, let's go on to my second love, which is the Forge Fathers. I am so happy. I am so happy that the prices in VP came down because every time I would make a Forge Father list and try to add or this and that, I'd always end up with 1 or 2 points less of what I can add. So, like, if we're doing 200 points, I would be at like 194 because I'd have 6 extra points that couldn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
was like I always had this extra points where I couldn't buy an item or I couldn't buy just and it killed me that I was not getting up to that level. Bringing it down, I understand. Oh, they're hardy. They have these weapons. They have this. But if you can't put them in the game, then it's useless. I like.
Yeah.
I really do like the changes to the the points and the VPs because like let's just say like the Forge Lord, he's 44 points, but he is down in VP to 3 VP. That makes sense. He's great. Don't get me wrong, he's great.
Mhm.
But I think 44 and 3 makes more sense. You know.
Yeah, I think the Forge Fathers were really hard to play with because if you're losing anything, you're losing the game so quick. Because if a Forge Guard gives away 4 VP, you
Yeah.
just have to have one good shot with AP2, maybe even only AP1. You get through those 2 HP rather fast. Life support doesn't kick in, and then you have 4 victory points, and the other player paid 30 points for that or something like that.
Right.
Was also like a really it's hard to navigate them, or was hard to navigate them,
Right.
especially the Forge Guard. And that's where we went down in points and victory points, because it, again, wasn't really fun to play them. So most of the time you just take Brocker because they were all around
Right.
a
Right.
good choice, and then you don't have your armored specialist, but your scrapper dudes who run around half naked
Right.
because they are like better fighters in
Right.
the end than the best of the best.
And they were 1 VP and they were cheap.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
and still surviving on force.
right, right. So the Brockers. I know. I don't. They didn't change, but I like the Chief Brocker. The changes to the Chief Brocker is really good. The Strike It Lucky was good.
Hmm.
I like that it's Brocker, Militia, Steel Warrior, or Thorgrim in a shoot action. Um, I love the Thorgrim. The change to the Thorgrim, the fight of 3+ and smash one, and bring it down to 18 points, which made sense. These are elite fighters who hate the Kalishi. Why are they? Why can't they fight as good as the Kalishi? You know what I mean? Like, I could
Yeah.
see like in the forge they're making weapons and they're like, I wish I had a Kalishi to smash their skull in, and but the Kalishi are so fast, so now you have this is kind of a good counter to the Kalishi.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, I think half of the internet that plays Deadzone will be on the other side and say they hate the change of the 3 up.
Hmm.
Personally, I think they are dwarves and they need a really specialized fighting unit. It fits them.
Yes.
Also, they don't have really big models or that are fighty. They are a combined arms faction. They aren't shooty because they don't have snipers, they don't have indirect, and so on. So they're
Right.
missing many of the key things other shooty factions have. But they aren't fast. They
Right.
don't have anything that makes the target rim really faster. So
It
they are tough as nails.
yeah.
The target rim are really really good,
Yes.
but so are the Kalishi for other reasons.
Right.
So
But you're
they
thinking
got
about
one
it.
point more expensive now. They
Yeah.
were 17, now they're 18.
No,
It's
no.
only 1 point, but it makes a difference.
No, no. That's the best 1 point to spend anywhere. That's actually makes a lot of sense. Well, a 3+ fight, you should be expensive, and
Yeah.
then they have the forge hammer, and all this good stuff. So, um, yeah, it's definitely good. But now you have a viable fighting force of and Smash one as opposed to Frenzy one.
Mhm.
It makes sense. Um, yeah, that was a big thing. I think the drop troopers coming down to 2 VPs is a nice thing there. The Valkyrie, they're fighting on fours now, but no armor.
Yeah.
But they went
That was one
222.
of the that was one of the changes that was, I think, made last year,
Yeah,
beginning of last year already, when the new models came out that were we needed a new profile. And before they were like normal steel warriors who
right.
were faster. Now it's more fitting.
I
I
like the
think
smash. I'm sorry, the ramming.
yeah,
I like the
yeah,
ramming. I think that's a great idea because their bike looks like a mini tank,
yeah.
So, and they're in the vault too. So, just saying.
True, true.
Yeah, so now you can run 8 of them. I mean, I have 6 of them that I would run. I would do a whole biker army. I used to love to do that. Yeah, the forge guard, like you were saying before, the missile launcher got fire control, and the one use keyword and remove heavy. That was
Mhm.
such a pain in the ass. You had the shoulder rocket, but you'd have to move them because they were so slow. They were 1-1. I think removing heavy. I think the Forge Fathers could figure out how to craft a missile launcher that's one use but not heavy,
Yeah.
and it just
He
that
can't
made
reload
sense.
it. It's on the shoulder, but you can use it once, but shoot it together with your rifle
Right,
in one turn. I think it's a good trade-off
right,
because you can then have that one shot. You don't have reliably high AP, but you have that enough in the list already. You have the AP1 gun still
right,
on the Forge Guard, but being able to move in a good position and have that one round where you just like strike it lucky with your missile launcher
right,
makes it more viable.
right. You got to get them in a position where you gotta get rewarded for
Yeah,
that. Our ancestors went down in price, which I think is good because you could never fit them in. They would be anywhere from a third to almost half your army depending on your points. I've seen people play like 150 points and take like 6 models because they're taking the Hermel pattern or the Thor pattern, and you can only really fit in. So now with a little bit more, you have a little bit more wiggle room in there.
yeah,
I think that's good. I like the new profile is good too for them.
and also you have so many engineers in this list. Not as many as before,
Right,
obviously, because the normal brokers lost it, but new entries and having engineers putting out flames on your iron ancestors
right.
who take up half or a third of your army makes quite a difference.
Yeah, I know, and I know the Broncos lost dismantle too, but they're only 13 points. They had a lot going on for them. I think they are who they are. They're fighting units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they didn't really lose it. It just was removed as a profile keyword and added to the all weapons.
Okay,
So we have so
so
in
they
the
still
end,
have it.
Rockers only lost engineer and I think went down even 1 point. So
Okay, yeah,
overall, it's a little buff for the Brockers.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, the Forge Fathers looking good. Also, I know the Living Legends came down a little bit, which makes sense. I mean, Ingolf Kresterson was overpriced. Now he's down to 42 and 3 VPs. I think that was good. I know Pad went up to 1 VP, but
So it's
yeah, it's a
yeah, but
balancing.
it's not that you kill the one model and you get 4 VPs.
Right.
That's a bit too much for 2 HP models. 4 VP is just
Yeah,
insane, and we
it's
removed that across the board.
and I know I've been playing Forge Fathers a long time. I've seen guys, you give them, they have life support, they have all this good stuff, and then they get on one bad shooting, and you get a bad dice roll, and like you said, you're giving a guy 4 VPs. Um, it wasn't fun. All right, moving on to GCPS. These guys, I think they got a lot of love.
Mm.
They got some good stuff. Like I was saying, your close quarter Marines, the who is it? The riot troopers. Um, as far as combat's concerned, they got a nice buff. They're fighting on fours. We already talked about the Striders, the same deal to the enforcers. The GCPS is getting the love for the Striders. Um, what
For me,
else?
the heavy weapon teams,
Yes.
everything besides the mortar, so the other three options are troops now.
Okay. So yeah.
Same as the GCPS medic, and I think also the engineer. Or not only the medic is troop. So more boots on the ground, more GCPS Marines there with big guns doing their thing.
So wait, the heavy weapons team, they're troops now.
Yes,
Wow.
the autocannon, missile launcher, and laser cannon all are troops
Oh,
now.
troop
The
time. I
mortar
missed
is
that. Okay.
still a specialist, but the laser cannon on top got firing platform. Missile launcher stayed the same,
Right.
but didn't get nerfed. The other things got nerfed that had frag and that range,
Right.
and the autocannon got a bit cheaper on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Autocannon got to be 14. Okay. Yeah.
14
So
points
wow.
is
So you could wow, you could take three. Let's take three uh laser cannons as troops, and then unlock a bunch of other stuff. That's kind of crazy.
yeah.
Like, you know, maybe move them up into a. I mean, they have to start on the first level, right? Is that so? But
No, no, they can start wherever they want. They
okay.
are on vehicles. So if you have some height in your deployment zone, you're good to go.
Yeah. Wow.
But they
All
are
right.
still heavy, so and they only survive on fives and so on. But this is really something where we wanted to showcase because heavy weapon teams weren't taken, but
Right.
were something so iconic and unique to the GCPS.
Right. Right.
Um, they rely on their weapons because they are puny humans.
Right.
And so this is the thing. I mean, you can easily use a suppression weapon or even a blaze away action from an enforcer with a rifle shooting on fours with blaze away having 4 dice, and the weapon team won't shoot next turn.
Right.
But at least they don't have to be unlocked anymore on
Mm.
the normal ones. Those
That's
that you have to shoot directly, as you said
yes.
before, those are harder to use. Now they're even unlocking
Yeah,
troops.
that's a huge shift. That's a big shift because there's usually you think about them just in general. They're support guys, but now they're troops. That's pretty cool. I thought it was a big move to move tac drones back to specialists, not to troops
Mm.
anymore. That was a big thing. I used to like to run GCPS with a bunch of the tac drones kind of skittering up and doing that. Now they're that, but
Yeah, but
you
they
know,
lost remote, so
right,
you don't need an engineer to get a tech drone in there. You just have to unlock them.
right,
Then again, you have the heavy weapon teams. Even you could take a heavy weapon team and then a tech drone unlocked by the heavy weapon team.
right.
So that could be the same. And the tech drones were a bit too strong because moving and shooting, having armor, having 3 HP,
Yes.
um, they, they were a bit too good as all
No, they
rounders.
were they were
So
they were fantastic. They really were.
yeah,
But yeah, making them specialists makes a lot of sense because they were really good. It's like you moving a missile launcher up and shooting. It wasn't heavy.
yeah.
That was my jam right there. But okay, but yeah, I think with the GCPS, there's a few
Yeah.
things here or there.
Yeah. The riot trooper changes, they lost their armor, so they only have armor 1 from the defender shield,
Right.
but they got horde.
Yeah.
So the
What was
shield wall action now is on.
yeah, that's going to be a little bit well, you know what? They're a little bit more pricey than zombies, but
Yeah,
to
and
get
they
the
are
shield
specialists.
wall in there, like you said, get two or three in a thing, and then you get two of them together. They'll have horde and also armor two with the. I'm sorry, no, they won't have armor two.
Armor 1 at least.
The
Yeah,
armor one because of
but
the shield. A shield can't
they
help a
are
shield,
they are
right?
good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
But it's also, I think charging with them won't be as easy to pull off the horde, but stacking on an objective and waiting for stalkers or Kalishi to come in there, you
Mhm.
can fight even Kalishi with two riot troopers
Right.
if you're standing there defensively. So
Mm.
it
Yeah.
fits the GCPS theme.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now Marauders got a quick little thing. I love the fact that the Hulk can fight back and he can hit you with his rifle or her
Yeah.
rifle because Georgie loves
Yeah.
his girls. Uh, the cannon smash, close combat, no AP, but knockback and smash one. They fight on fives, but they're always bigger, so you're gonna most likely most of the time you're rolling three dice. If they charge in with it, if they shoot you and then charge in with it, now they're viable. They're not just um,
Yeah.
firing platforms. Just
Yeah.
standing there. They do
And
have
now you
firing
have an
platforms.
you have now an option because it's still a heavy weapon
Right.
they are wielding, but if you can't if you don't have a target to shoot with them, you can now instead charge something. As
Right.
you said, 3 dice plus 1 for smash plus 1 for charging in plus 1 for size because they are size 3, so most of the time you have it. So you're charging with 6 dice and 5 ups. It's a good
It-
alternative.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's
And
that's
also,
that's something I like.
I also see it defense wise too, because you don't want to get shot by a Hulk, but you can get in there and fight them because they weren't that. They were fighting on fives.
On sixes even they
Six. I'm
were
sorry, on
fighting on
sixes.
sixes
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
So that's you need defense, but now they fight on fives. It's a little bit better, and they're going to roll at least four in defense.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm sorry, five in defense, smash, and then if they're bigger, unless you get a Teraton or something charging in. But yeah, a few other things. They just got like the Rainmaker got augmented to rotary cannon Hugh Beamer, which is good. You could use it or don't use it. It's okay. Um, the
It's
Commando,
much more offensive.
yes,
Because I've seen it used quite a lot against me,
right,
and I think it never triggered damage or even rampage.
yeah,
So and having the Hue Beamer on 5 ups often just didn't do any damage
right,
on a. But now with 2 rerolls on an AP3 weapon, that can really hurt.
yeah,
If you need it, you can use it. If you don't use it.
correct. Now
No
the
extra points, nothing.
the Commando and Commando Brawling getting scout.
Yes.
That's pretty nasty right there. Because I always thought like just in Deadzone, Commandos were pretty good as far as just troops in general, but now they're even better.
Yeah, they are with the workhorse
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
Marauders.
No, they. I mean, they're good in and of themselves before, but now that they got scout, I mean, granted, it's only one cube,
Yeah,
but one cube is that's seven away from you instead of eight away from you. I thought that was great. Um, yeah, I think that's it. But that was the big thing. Those are the things that really stuck out to me. So let's take a quick break, and we'll move on
hmm
to the rest of it. Okay, we're back. So we are going to skip the Matsudan because they're basically all new. So you should really get to the companion app and see that. But I really do like the Matsudan. They are my new hobby project slash gaming project. I like all the stuff, and then the thing with the vault, having all the stuff in there is just it's mind blowing. I love it. Really do like the Macedon, even
Oh,
though they
I'm
have
really glad you like them
yeah.
because they were my big project when designing the new factions,
Okay.
and made a deep dive also into Japanese lore and sumo lore to
Mm-hmm.
get like cool names and cool gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I I don't know if you saw the
always nice to hear
video.
that.
I don't know if you saw the
Yeah,
video, but I knew exactly what you were talking about. I've
yeah,
been a fan of sumo and feudal Japan and whatnot. So I was picking up what you're putting down, man. I liked it a lot. So, but yeah, I think it's great. Just go to Revolt and see the
yeah.
changes. And Claudio, anything you want to add to that before we move
Yeah,
on?
one thing is they will be included, or as far as I know, the plans are that they will be every profile will be included in the PDF.
Okay.
So that you can take the PDF with the changes to your existing factions you have the book for, and then in the PDF everything will be in there so that you don't have to use the companion if you don't want to,
Right.
because the PDF will have the changes, and for the new factions we'll have every profile in there too. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay. And this is one of the new ones. But yeah, but they're a lot of fun. I really am enjoying them. I gotta play them a little bit more. Add some grav bikes and the bloodhounds and whatnot. I do. I'm having a blast with them. I like them a lot. All right. So next would be Maison Labs. The Maison Labs. Few things. I kind of like the Cyborg Primes networked his special order. After activating a Cyborg or Neural Link Chovar, which is the model I hate the most, you may remove an activation marker from another model of either type. Um, that's pretty cool. And then it almost forces you to take a Chovar, and you have to take two of them because you know what I mean? Like after activating a Chovar, you may remove an activation marker from another model or,
So you could
of
you
either type. Yes.
yeah, so you can use a cyborg and then take away the activation marker from the Chovar,
Right.
or from a Chovar to Chovar, cyborg to cyborg, or either way you want.
Yeah.
I think this change was because, as you said earlier, personally I like some sub-faction type splats,
Hmm.
special orders where you know, hey, I have, if I want a Brocker army, I take a leader that benefits Brockers, or
Right.
here that benefits cyborgs. But this was nearly okay. I take as many cyborgs as I can, a few suppression guns with them, list is built,
Right.
and that was a bit boring.
Right.
With this, and even changes to cyborgs that are now more expensive because they were way too cheap. I don't know what we were thinking there.
Right. Yeah.
um, they
And they were great, but they were super cheap.
they are cool, but now they are pointed accordingly.
Hmm.
So that's better. But this also means you can't take as many cyborgs. And now for list building, you could even only take 2 or 3 cyborgs and maybe 2 chovars, and just go on that extra activation thing.
Right.
It opens up a few play styles and even list building options. And it makes also sense because the chovar is neuro linked,
Right.
and this is the network. So
Right.
it works on more levels.
Mm. Yeah. I like that. Gail Simmons, I like that their speed is 1+1 and use frenzy 2 for the round. That's pretty cool. Graves went to recon 4+, and he's 20 points. And Coiner went to 28 and 2 VPs. He's not an engineer anymore. I guess he lost his degree. Laser Cutter now is range 2, AP2, and has the word dismantle in it. So, and then, but it's not, it burns. So, I don't know. I always liked it that he had it burns, but,
Mm,
it is what it is. He's got dismantle now. So, I just don't know if I'd want him up and close with like a Strider, but maybe when those ciphers, wardens, and like
yeah,
that, yeah, that would be, it would
yeah.
make sense.
It's, you don't want to charge or to go in there, but if something comes up to you,
Yeah,
you cut them with your little arm laser thing. It's not really a flamethrower, so
yeah. Well,
um,
also if you get corner in combat, things are
yeah.
going
I mean,
sideways.
now he's better in combat because he has still stun, but stun, he can now do damage. Before
Right,
he could only stun,
right,
but he has companion, and
mhm,
and now he can do even some damage. So,
right.
but please don't charge anything with Coiner if you don't have
No,
to.
no, if you don't have to, he's
Management wouldn't be happy.
that's one of those things. He needs some defensive weapons. You want to have him handing out the splats and whatnot, and that. Lab tech we talked about now that the shock baton has stun.
Yeah,
The security guards are fight of 5 but survive of 6, and their SMG is range 4 rapid fire and 7 points now. So, um, and there's still one VP, right? The
yeah,
security guards, yeah.
yeah.
But the
But
lab
those
techs are
are
not.
now a bit different from the Marines. Something also we didn't like was that they had the completely same profile as Marines.
Right,
So it was like the GCPS Marines. So it felt like having the Urbana veterans and the um, security guard was the same as veterans and marines in GCPS. So we changed this. They now fight better than they survive.
Right.
They are a bit cheaper now that lab techs don't unlock. You still have a 7-point unlock with them,
Right.
which is something important. Um, but also, if you look at the splat from Simmons, the 5-up fight can even help them if you could blaze away with them with the
Right.
rapid fire SMG, maybe pin something, then up your speed with the splat from Simmons, move 2, and have frenzy 2 with a 5 of 5 on a pinned target. So not
Yeah.
maybe the best play, but there are a few options where they can shine, and they are cheap.
Yeah.
They're cheap, a bit like Rebel Troopers
Yeah.
in the end, but fighting better.
Yeah, they're a little bit more viable. They're a little bit more playable. Take one or two of them in there, and just to unlock, like you said. Um, you know, I see the Marines got Resilient One. Uh, Now they also have the grenade launcher. They're specialists, flamers. Um, I like this one here. The 15-point XR2 Flamer Specialist, range 2, it burns Toxic 3. I'm sorry, it burns 3, Toxic 1. That's crazy. And they also have Under Control for 1 VP and 13 points. That's crazy. That's all right. That's going right into the list right
I
there.
mean, you have a printer, you have those nasty new flamethrower options on the wall too.
Right.
So if you want, you could use them for, you know, an added effect that they look a bit different. You
Yes.
don't have to. It's an option.
Yeah.
Uh, but I like that they have specialized flamethrowers, like they are the containment units.
Right.
Something comes out of their specimen tanks, and they either kill it with their extra strong toxic launchers, or they get it under control because the plague victim knows they will burn
Right. Right.
if they attack them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Um. So now the Cyborg Beta, he's at 14. TAC drones are specialists. We went over that with GCPS. The Neuralink Chovar is 22 and 2. Um, so it's this one here. Um, they really Mind Blast is went weapon to Psychic, Explosive Blast, and Hyperkinesis is range 2.
Range 2.
Yeah.
So invigorate only range 2.
Right.
Those plays where you just mindlessly throw your aberration in front, you can hide your chover. Those days are over.
Yeah.
You have to move the chover to get the benefit. You can't double activate something without having any risk.
Right.
Now, if the aberration is mostly the aberration is up on the in the enemy already, the chover won't be able to reach it
Right.
as easily. So you have to think a bit more and don't have just rolling dice and hoping for extra
Yeah.
activations and smash your opponent.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, that was a thing. The Chovar, take two Chovar or take one Chovar and two aberrations, and you're getting at least three activations for the 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 big dudes getting up there. So
Mm.
the aberration was that was a lot. Plague victims are 11 points. That's nice. Uh, the Rangers got resilient 1. That's nice too. Metabot, which I hate that model. Value of 0, which makes sense. Now, are they troops? Metabots are still specialists, right?
And the Mandibots are still specialists,
Okay.
yes.
Cyborg Alpha to 18 points. Needed it.
Yeah.
The Striders, same as before. We spoke about that.
Yeah.
The
But
Aber.
the smoke changed.
Okay.
They have most Strider have something special. GCPS are the vanilla one,
Right.
Enforcers one shoot better,
Okay.
and the Mason Labs have a toxic smoke 3 smoke
Okay.
instead of the normal smoke launcher.
Okay. Oh, so the Strider, the Enforcer Strider shoots better than the GCPS Strider. Is that
Yes, that's like that. That's an old one because the Enforcer shoots on 4s and every other Strider shoots on 5s.
right?
But we tried to change the other normal Striders to be more different because the reps, the Mason Labs, and the GCPS one were all the same.
Right.
And now they are a bit different because Mason has a bit more expensive smoke, but with Toxic 3,
Okay.
which in combination with Cyborgs
Can do. Yeah, that'd be good.
can do some work.
I like that the Striders are different because they should be different, um, because that gives the uniqueness to each faction. You know,
Mm.
like maybe like we were saying before, the reaction time of the enforcers would be different than say the regular humans or the rebs or the plague even. So yeah, I love that. I love. Like I said, I love that about the Striders. Aberration. He lost a he lost a health point. So
Mm.
is it open season on aberrations now? Is it you know
Maybe a bit oppressive. So
yeah.
now you can maybe kill it before it reaches you.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they were tough before. Now, not less tough, but
Yeah. Still 4-up survive, armor, and tough. So
yeah.
hard to crack anyway.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So we're moving on to the nameless. You guys are killing me, man. I put the Psychotroid on a 60 mil base. Now I got to put him on a 40 mil base. You got what the hell? what's going on?
I
I
think it was always meant to be on a 40 millimeter. I don't know.
yes.
I think it was a printing error maybe in the book.
Yeah.
But they are also, if you buy them, they have a 40 millimeter. So
Right.
yeah, I'm
Well, but
sorry.
I
It's,
I will say though, Mantic does send some bases, and they don't. They're
yeah.
not the right ones. So that's why sometimes you gotta think about that. Yeah, the thing I see here when so I was going over with my nephew last night. We were talking about this, and we talked about the spawn. He
Mhm.
says, "Can you please yell at them for this?" I says, "No problem. I'll talk to Claudio." The spawn has horde keyword, which is good because he's going to be spawning uh, scuttlers, but deploy a free pinned unactivated scuttler. Um, I thought it was a good idea that he's pinned because he like it kind of plops out. It's like born, and it can't just plop out and then jump up and go. It has to be pinned because it's kind of like you know the afterbirth and all that stuff. It's got to come up. So I understand that. It was that the kind of the reasoning behind it, or
Yet two things. First of all, it just appears out of nowhere and is ready to fight.
right,
That's weird, as you just said. And on the other hand, you get a completely free model without any other condition.
right,
Because Coiner, for example, has conditions. You have to an own model has to die. Then you get a pinned and activated plague victim.
right,
So that's harsh. Here you just spawn a new one in the cube and it can activate and can move to cubes.
right,
It was just a bit too much, too
right,
good
right.
to use. So we had to rein it in a little bit,
Mhm.
and we thought, okay, do we want it to be activated or pinned? But activated is for a 6-up survive model was a bit too harsh. So we thought, okay, if it's pinned, you still have to think about it. Maybe you want to have an extra activation die ready then, because you have to activate it to
Right.
stand up and move where you want. So it's a bit of a balancing issue because the spawn itself plus the splat was also really, really strong.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was. It was. I think that's a good it's a good balancing balancing issue there. Inker getting horde is crazy. I like that. Um the crystal rifle lost prey. Now
Yes.
what was the
The
like
reasoning
thinking.
was yeah, was that it was a bit too easy to get prey on enemies. Prey
Right.
is for the whole game. It's a really strong effect. In this list, you have everything. You have cheap units that fight and can use the prey. You have fast units. You have really big units. Maybe the best unit in the game, or for fighting reasons in the Goliath. And everyone profits from prey. And
Mhm.
you have a model that just you don't have to work for it.
Right.
And we felt shooting at force, it's just a nearly 100% chance that you have the prey on it.
Right.
So we removed it. We added AP1 so
Right.
that they have a bit more of a chance to, because they have a few problems with armor, especially if you're in the ranged unit. So for 16 points and one victory point, having a 4-up shooting guy with AP1,
That's
that's
great.
nearly Steel Warrior level here,
Yeah, yeah.
and cheaper for that. So that's really a good unit,
Hmm.
but you lost Prey.
Right,
For that, we gave the Needle Drone on its blast weapon Prey instead.
right,
So
right.
it blasts the whole cube, and the whole cube will have Prey.
Hmm.
But you have to move there, and you have only range 2.
Right,
So the idea is use more gunslingers. They weren't used because you just take the rifleman for a few more
right.
points and have the
Exactly.
reliable Prey. So Prey, applying Prey got a bit. You have to work more to apply Prey.
Right.
That's the reason.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes total sense. Carotid 19 and 1 VP. That's good. I love the carotid, but they die. They really die. 1 VP is good. Faramite. Uh, so I remember I was listening to you on a podcast and it said, well, the Faramite's going to get this and that. And I was like, all right, they're going to take away Defender Shield. They're going to take away this and that. But they went up 6 points apiece.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You may
I think.
they're
Sorry.
too good. No, I'm saying they're too good for 20.
Yeah, for 20, it was a bit crazy.
Yeah.
I think taking away something wasn't really needed because they still only have the size and AP, but nothing else to win a fight. No frenzy, no smash, nothing. So they can be good and they can be resilient, but it's their role.
Mm,
But for 26 points, the problem was spamming them with drop suits and
right.
keeping them in reserve and so on. We took that away. And for 20 points, it was just too cheap. You
Right.
just take 2, 3, 4, drop them in, and it's mayhem. One you can handle as an opponent. And if you take more now, you have to pay for it.
Right.
And you don't have the whole board still there because they are so cheap. You can still spam them and it
Mm,
still works, but it's not as oppressive as before.
right. You know what? If you're taking 5, you can only take 4 now, and points wise. But
Yeah. And then you don't have anything left
yeah, right.
because it's.
You're at over 100 points. Um, it's weird that the needle drone um lost agile and psychic, but then all his weapons have psychic on them, so it's
Yeah,
the same difference.
it had psychic on the profile. It was like something old, I think, where psychic was on profiles. It's just a cleanup
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
end.
That makes sense. All right. So I think that's
And the
it.
Magnemite finally is viable.
All
I
right.
think it
Yeah.
went down by 6 or 8 points, something like that,
Right.
and got resilient on top.
Yeah. That was my favorite unit. I used to take them all the time, but now you couldn't. But now resilient 1 and 28 points is pretty.
Yeah, I think they were at 35.
Yeah. It
So
was.
for 28 points, they are
They're worth it.
a really good unit.
Yeah. Between them and the Pharamites, you're good. Night Stalkers, new faction. So, um, what is it? These changes made to the beta faction list, which appeared in the Mantic Companion until 2025. Um, they're a lot of fun to play.
Mm.
Let me see. Yeah, not too many changes.
No,
There's
a few minor things, a few nerfs.
yeah,
Reapers and Tormentors got a bit cheaper, but a few nerfs were combinations with the Needle Drones, Butchers, and Butcher Flash Ripper Splat were just they were unkillable in a few scenarios,
yeah,
especially against units who couldn't shoot as good
right.
as well. So yeah,
Yeah, no,
but
they're
again, those check them out, and they are a new faction.
mm-hmm,
They are really I like. They were really hard to design and playtest because we wanted to do them quite differently to the other factions,
mm-hmm.
so that they don't feel like Nameless or Plague.
Yes. I
And I
think
think
that's a
we
that's a
managed
hard.
that.
Yeah, you did.
Uh,
It's hard because you know it's almost like you have to have new keywords and new weapons and new this, but with still staying within the realm of Deadzone. But you have to make them different because why would I play them when I could just play Nameless? Why would I play
yeah,
them if I could play Plague? It's a crazy balancing act. They're a lot of fun. They you could tell it's ground level, but they're pretty good. They're a lot of fun to play. I really do enjoy playing them. Not as much as the Mastodon, but I do like the them. So plague, how are we doing with the plague? The aberration, like we said, 4 hit points. That's crazy. Um, the corruption, I know wasn't getting enough love, right? So
yeah.
so armor 0, tack 1 and tough, and it's now 40 points. Is that the reason nobody was using the
Yeah, because
corruption?
if you it was more expensive, I think 44 points than
Yes.
an aberration. Was way easier to kill because that armor 1, no tough, and 5 up survive was so much worse than the 4 up survive tough armor from the aberration, and it wasn't really more offensive. It
Right.
didn't have more offensive capabilities than the aberration. Now it has, now that the aberration has only 4 HP, the corruption with tough can be even tougher than the aberration in some regards.
Right.
It's it's hard to kill in 1 or 2 shots, even with AP. It's nearly impossible. And it has a backup tactician because also in the lore it's meant to be a bit like the stage 1.
Hmm.
So it's just something different than the stage 1. The aberration is a mindless stage 1. This is a newer strain of stage 1. So we thought the tactician could really add something, and also having a backup tactician on such a big beast um, is something new, where you say, okay, if I get rid of the general, for example, who dies quickly,
Hmm.
then I have to kill the corruption to which
Right.
I might ignore because I say it's too many HP to kill. I'd ignore it. Well, then you still have your 4
Right.
command dice.
Yeah, you have your extra attack dice. Yeah. Um, where is it? The something? No. Ghouls. They're 8 points now, and the grenade launcher weapon option to 14 and 1 VP. Yeah, I
Mhm.
like. I always loved the boomstick on the plague. That was one of my favorite things. Hellhounds went up from 7 to 9, right?
Yeah,
So what
for
was that?
7, such a fast unit fighting on 5s with frenzy and still for surviving on 5s.
Hmm.
I think, yeah, it's for 7 points. They were just a no-brainer to take.
Right. Yeah.
For 9 points, there are 1 point more than the ghoul, which makes sense
Right.
because they fight better. They are as fast and as survivable. They just don't have a rifle. But
Mm.
ghouls only shoot on 6s. So now they are where they should be.
Right. Yeah, I know. That was a tough one, but yeah, they were
Yeah,
always very good. Uh,
I mean, I've seen many lists where there are only dogs and big beasts,
right.
and it was the ghouls were never taken. It's a bit weird, and the dogs for 7 points. If you're comparing it to other units that were costing 7 points, um, they were just overperforming
Right.
by
Yeah,
speed or by survivability, or even also by offensive capabilities with the frenzy.
yeah, they were fantastic at that. But yeah, nine's not terrible. I don't make it more than 9 though, because they're like
No, no, no,
really
nine,
where
nine,
they are.
nine is
Yeah.
fine.
Uh, the weapons team, unit profile, fight of 5, and the mortar 6. That's across the board. Murder birds, 1 to 3 instead of 2 to 3. 3 health points. They have evade, and they're at 15 points and 1 VP. That's not terrible. I think that's kind of like where they should be. Uh,
I mean,
bursters.
if you pin them,
Yeah.
they are out of the game. If you don't pin them, you have a problem.
Right. Right.
The
You
flock
know
is
what?
going.
You gotta deal with them. That's the way I
Yeah.
look at it. Just pick your targets, man. Bursters. They've range of 5. Amend the model VP values to 16 and 2 VPs. So they got cheaper, right? Is that
No, a bit more expensive
oh,
actually. They were
they were
14-1,
14, right?
which was weird for 3 hit points, size 2, and 4 up survive.
Right.
But now they're better shots. So now they're, I think AP1, it burns 3 uh, that they have, and they now hit on 5. So their initial attack is more reliable than
Right.
the ghoul flamethrower, who is on 6 ups and faster. You take that one for the burns effect, and these ones um, for the whole cube
Right. Yeah.
killy.
Yeah, they're still good for 16 and 2 is not bad. That's not bad. Plague Teraton lost knockback on his claws, and he's 28 points now. The Plague Swarm. This was so now he's got 4 health points, and you lost tough, but they have dismantle on the acidic bike. How come they lost tough? They're still 20 points.
Yes, but they got an extra HP instead of tough,
Hmm.
so it's a nerf there. The problem is they were a bit too survivable
Right.
for the. I mean, they have a 3-up fight, and then if they lose, they still have tough. You can't shoot them as easily as they should be shot if they have a 3-up fight.
Right.
Um, but now they, with Dismantle, at least they got a little bit something to maybe go on fighting a Strider, fighting on 3-up with Dismantle and AP2. You can get those constructs or vehicles a bit easier. But the tough was a bit too much for them on the
Yeah.
survivability.
Yeah, they were really good with the tough. Let's see. The Striders we went over. And like you said before, they're a little different than the other guys,
Yeah,
but everybody came
yeah.
down in price, which is nice. And that's it for that.
Hmm?
Let's go on to the worst faction, which is the Rebs. Uh,
Oh, you will be summoning Andrew if you
yeah,
say that.
I know, right? Um, it was funny too because we were talking about it last night, and Sheo Silverback is 32-3. Not bad. I think that's okay. Um, the Rebel Cell leader, Jack of all trades, allow a friendly model to use their range fight and switch it at any time. Uh,
Mm.
that's it's always been a cool thing. I like this. I like that the Saphir Mako Hunter got an energy shield too and is 15 points. That's gonna help the survivability of those guys. Um, the Grogan Desolator, 18 points and two VPs. This is Andrew. They brought it up. He goes, "It's I don't care. I don't take them anyway." But um, yeah, that's I don't know. I don't know. That's don't. I think the two VPs are a little high in my personal opinion.
Mm.
Um,
I mean, they have Resilient and a 4-up Survive
right,
and
but
an AP3 weapon.
it, eh,
So they got a few things going on for
yeah,
them.
yeah, okay. I'm thinking about the older guys. The Alpha Simeon 24. That's good. That brought him down. Uh, now the it says amend the Rebel Terraton's profile. Range is 5+, and the hand flamer to it burns 2. Is it still one use
It's
or
still
is
one use.
okay?
Yes, both.
Yeah.
The change to the range stat was because frag weapons now don't automatically hit.
Mm,
It's a bit like indirect. You need one hit for a frag weapon to land in the
right.
cube. And for the grenade launcher one use, so you can it was changed so that you can more reliably hit, and then the flamer was changed to only it burns 2 because now the range set is better. So it's
Right.
nearly the same, I'd say.
Right. Okay. Shocktrooper went to armor 2 and 24 points. So that's a good thing there. I like the Rin Nomad here. He's got the evade companion to the twin knives profile. On the sniper profile, you replace the twin knives weapon profile with the twin pistol weapon profile. Makes sense. Um, the Lancer, 15 points, 1 VP. That's crazy. I love the Saphir Lancers. The Rebel weapons team, they got Holosight for the missile launcher weapon profile. It seems across the board. Uh, Now the Rebel Engineer Resilient one. I know you love engineers, so I think you had a hand in that. He's 16 points with dismantle on both the weapon profiles. So it makes sense that the engineer would do that. The Rebel Strider, I think this is fantastic. Add Boom 4 to it. Fire control, the prices like across the board went down like before.
Even
Uh,
more than the others
yes,
because it
yeah,
lost 1 HP.
okay,
So this is the cheapest rider now you
right.
will get.
Which makes sense because it's kind of a secondhand thing that they
Yeah,
put together, and
yeah,
yeah, I see. I love that. I think the old way was kind of lazy. It was like, all right, we're just going to take all the Striders and make them exactly the same. No, it shouldn't be that way. The Rev Strider should be cheaper but crappier, and like the Enforcer Strider should be the elite level Strider.
yeah.
Yeah,
And they don't have the rockets, but they have traps instead.
right. Yeah, that's crazy.
So just additional change. So the Rebel Strider is really the one where they tinkered around and customized and they salvaged it from somewhere,
Right. Maybe they get
rigged it.
like an Energy Shield 1 that they picked off of an
Oh,
Asterion or
it's a
something.
bit too crazy then.
No, I'm just saying, just maybe something to add or something, some crazy stuff. The Tigress Outrider, I love this guy. Stealthy to elusive one. Uh, the hunting rifle, remove rapid fire but add prey. That's kind of crazy. He's 26 points and a specialist now, so he's and you could run more than one of them. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
He
Uh,
lost armor, so he's more susceptible to small arms fire now.
right,
But the elusive can help there. But still, 4 victory, if only 4 HP, can be shot with a good shot. Can be killed quite quickly. But
right,
having the hunting rifle is can have some nasty combinations. So
right. And he moves quick, right? He's a two
yeah,
to three, right?
2 3. Yeah,
Yeah. And then the rest are the
living
special
legends.
living legends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that Nikolovsky's got a 3+ and a holosight on the removed holosight from the magma lance, 30 points. Yeah, living legends are one of those things you take just to take. That's the flavorful part. And let's go into the home stretch here. We are in the Veer-myn.
Yes.
Uh, let's see. So Progenitor is 26 and 2 VPs as a grenade launcher, frag 3, indirect toxic 1. Spitter rifle, amend the spitter rifle, amend the smoke grenade launcher to 22. Nice. And in the surge special order, replace move with advanced action. So, I always like
A
the
bit.
progenitor. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a solid leader model with good
yeah,
weapons. So
yeah. Master Creeper just has dismantled. Broodmother. Broodmother got some love. So she
mm,
went from a 4-up fight and a recon of 5, which is worse, but a good fight. And she has a 3 VP model. That was like what we were saying before. It's like she's survivable, but not so survivable. But 3 VP seems about right. I think 4 was too much for her.
mm,
And the pack leader, he got a
that's
yeah, I think this is the dude, man. So his profile went speed 1 to 2, fight of 3, survive of 4, size 3, 4 health points. Remove the stealthy keyword. He's 32 points. Feral rush. Select a non-pin model in your strike team that is within 3 cubes of the active friendly model. Move it 1 cube towards the active model. If the model triggers an assault, move the model will gain frenzy 1 in the subsequent assault. The model will not is not marked as activated unless it already was. That's crazy. That's really strong. And he's 32
that's a beat
points.
stick.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's going to be I think that's a good one to really really put the dirty tactics on. I think that's really good. 3 cubes away, with his speed of 1 to 2, which is not bad, but everybody else is quick. You'll always have somebody within 3 cubes, and you could start an assault.
with
Yeah,
the with the splat. Yeah,
yeah, that's
fighting on
good.
threes with frenzy and AP is and the size.
Yeah, he's going to be around. He's pretty good, and then you can put some extra stuff on them. Thrall is a Survive 6+, Nightmares, favorite models. The Chem Throwers burns 4 for 19 points. That's something. That's pretty dirty, you
Yeah,
know?
because now it has range. Before it only had like the range thing, but you usually just took the one with the drill and the hand flamer.
Yeah,
But this one being a bit cheaper and having it burns 4 for 19 points with
yeah.
I think range 3 they have, it's whew,
That's pretty good. That range 3, yeah, that's something crazy. I would always take the double drills. I like those guys. But
yeah.
now with this, you know what it is? I build like 4 of each, so I'm ready to go. So I could take 4 of these guys. And they're still Nightmares are still troops, right?
Yes, still
Yeah.
troops.
So
All 4.
yeah, that's good. Stalker's 10 points. The Volt Stalker is now 13 points. I really liked the Volt Stalkers when they first came out. That they were kind of a sub faction. I think we should go back to that. I really did like the way they were, their whole aesthetic and everything, and the
Mm.
way they move and charge. I tell you what, though, every time I did the charged, which was basically augmented, I never survived. So he'd kill something and then blow up. So that was
Yeah,
just
well, 5 up survive. It's a gamble. It's a
yeah.
50-50 chance if you hurt yourself or
Uh,
not. Yeah.
not when I roll. It was like a
Yeah,
90
well.
10. Yeah, it was bad. Let's see. The malignant claw shot. Now we got another one. Heavy rifle, range 6 AP1, firing platform. Heavy though, 16 points, and the claw shot troop. Claw shot is now a troop at 15, so
Yeah.
that's good. Just more rats as troops to
Yeah, and
unlock.
we have the old one with hollow sight is still here. It's 1 point less, but now the leader model, if you buy the box, has a bigger weapon without a scope, and this is the firing platform then. So we, if you want to take, so the new specialist option is like the same as before,
Uh-huh.
and the one with hollow sight is 1 point cheaper at a troop because it doesn't have firing platform, but the new 7 up exploding,
Yeah,
which is a bit worse than the firing platform. So we made it a bit cheaper.
it's bird in the hand, one in the bush. But if you roll 3 7s and 2 8s,
Yeah.
you're in business. You know. So malignus is got a few things. Way to fire 2, rapid fire 15 points, no AP, and then the cane thrower troop is now 11 points. The creeper is a troop now. Um, he's
Mhm.
stealthy, so a lot of things lost stealthy. He actually gained stealthy. Uh, does not have it's funny. Remove dismantle, but put it on the dead packs and the dead
Yep.
bombs. It just yeah,
So that's, but the thing with the creeper is the only, I mean, the only play you could do with them was scouting 3 cubes, activating them in the first round, running 2 cubes, and then throwing dead packs.
right,
So you moved 5 cubes and then you throw the dead pack or something, or maybe even charge.
right,
Now that scout is only one cube advance, that's why he got buffed. That's why he's a troop. He's cheaper and he got stealthy
right.
because the old role doesn't work anymore. Now you have another option to use if you want more frag action and a stealthy model instead of a stalker.
I'll tell you, I missed the indirect toxic smoke all over the board. I used to just hoard the board with smoke and have my guys come up. I used to love that. Hopefully we could. I'll find a way to figure that out in here. I want to go down to the tunnel runner, which went to health point 4, so
Hmm.
he went down, and then the twin chem spitters profile is now AP1. I always said that the tunnel runners were just way too good for the price, man. They were
Mm.
just AP2 and 5 health
Prey, way
points.
to fire,
Yeah, just
fighting, 5 HP. Yeah,
yeah,
they're still really good in what they do.
right.
I mean, AP1 is still enough most of the times,
Mm,
but they were just a bit too good as an all rounder.
yeah.
So it's a minor thing most of the times, and
Mhm.
it hurts in a few occasions where you say it was too good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good for the price, but yeah, but this is actually very good. But yeah, so like I said, all around, really really good changes. Um, Now it's up to us to play this and see what's what, and then get the feedback back. But like I said at the beginning, I think this is rolling into the thing. Other than the Pathfinders and Tag, I'm very happy with everything in
Well,
here.
I knew that the one thing, if you like, if you criticize a few things, one thing would be the Pathfinders.
Right.
I was sure about that.
Yeah, and honorable.
And honorable. Well, yeah, we skipped a
Yeah,
bird.
but yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. I mean, it's out already in the companion, so it's out there in the wilderness. We should be playing it. I know
Yep.
we're going to do a lot more breakdowns here with family gamers. Claudio, you're always welcome here. Even if you want to just talk and get the word out, we're
Thank
more
you.
than happy to have you.
I
Um,
mean, we had I don't know, over 3 hours,
I don't
a
know.
good
I
talk
don't know.
here.
Yeah,
It's been a while,
It's
and
been, it's been good though. Been good
it's
though.
fun.
A lot of good information. Well, that's your guys' fault. You come out with a big update. If you came out with a small update, we would have did a half an hour. But
Yeah,
yeah, no,
I think
this was good. I'm sorry.
nobody was expecting an update this big. Even I mean, a few times I said it will be a massive update, and
Right,
then the balance changes were so many, and then yeah, well, we have got environmental effects, we have got extra scenarios, we have got secret missions, new ones, we have got so many other things on top of that.
right.
It's really, I mean, it's a 3.5 in my head it's a 3.5 because it's nearly a new edition.
Right.
No core rules or no bigger core rules were changed.
Mm.
I mean, the zero victory point and the extra activation thing aside, the rest stayed more or less the same, but in the core rules, but everything else
Well,
got more. And I'm
I
glad that you're liking it in the first glance.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, listen, I think Deadzone was in a good place. I think it needed a little tweaking, but like you said, it's not really. It's just a few things needed to be tidied up and a few things needed to
Mm,
be balanced, where it's not that these there's certain rules that need to be so dramatically changed that you need a 4.0. But like I'd like to see like we were talking about the communication. Hey, check out the Night Stalkers. We changed
mm,
some stuff. Hey, check this out. Check this out. In a centralized place where we can all find out. The companion app is great. Living rulebook, we got it. If it's a PDF coming out for a few bucks, you have it. If you have the option to buy a book for those guys who buy it, but I don't know as a business standpoint, Ronnie would probably have the numbers better than we would. But I think this is a great way forward from playing with cards on the table from edition one to talking what about 12, 13 years later, and now we're in the digital age where we're printing and painting and everything is on an iPad accessible. I think this is fantastic, and I don't know if any other game systems are doing this, but I love the fact that Deadzone is doing it because it shows that it's not um, stagnant. But I think also
mm.
too, maybe in the future, kind of like what Kings of War does with their Clash of Kings, maybe just an update every year saying, "Hey, we tried some stuff out. Here's just 6 or 7 things." I don't think we need a big update like they do
Yeah,
with the 30 armies, but something just like the PDF, like you guys did, and then the companion app changes. So I think you guys did a great
yeah.
job, man. I really do.
I hope thank you really, because it was. I mean, started working mm, nearly a few months after the release, maybe even when it was released, because there are always a few things you see when it's done.
Right,
So it was really a long time in the making. But now was a good point after the release of the Night Stalker and Matsudan, who were already when we were creating those new factions. We had already like 2 years of testing this version,
right.
not completely, but we had that in mind already when we designed the new factions, which helped. And then this is a good time. They were out in the wild for a year. We saw that the Matsudan needed little bit more. We saw that the Night Stalkers needed a little bit less.
Mm,
um, and so we have now a nice big package of things, and hopefully we will be able to do a bit more regular updates, because as we already said so often, and you right now, the living rulebook companion thing is a strength if you
mm,
embrace it, and if not, just print it out again. I've said that already, but it maybe in a year, like in a clash style or something like that, we can go and look at a few options that didn't perform as we wanted, and we don't need this much every year. You know, this is a bit too much to release every year,
right.
but there could be a few minor balance changes here and there, maybe with Pathfinders, maybe with something else that didn't work out the way we wanted. And personally, I'd love to add a few more things. It's just like my being a fan, and
Right.
nothing official, nothing that I spoil, but something like bringing back the zombie rules or some other things, like nothing that adds to the core of the game, but more options.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
even a new campaign here and there,
Hmm.
like little things you could add maybe to the companion or as a little PDF.
Right.
But that's strictly me as a fan speaking, which what I would like to work on or see even being done.
Hmm.
So let's see. I mean, as you said, that zone is the best game.
It
It's
is.
hard to make it better, but it's always possible. But you don't have to change the game from the ground up
Right.
anymore. We had that from first to second. That was great. From second to third, things like silhouettes and so on were also, in my opinion, a great addition.
Hmm.
At first, I wasn't a fan of silhouettes. Now I'm so glad we have them.
Right.
So yeah, I think I'm really happy with this update, and I can't wait for people to actually play this, and tell us all about it, what they like, what they don't like, what they'd like to see in the future. And yeah, I'm really, really hyped, even though I know what is coming out or was coming out for so long.
Right.
Knowing that people are going through it, and mostly, and I have to say that I'm really surprised that, I mean, like 99% of the comments right now that I've read or heard are positive. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'm still waiting for, like, the world is ending, Deadzone is dead.
Yeah.
It has to be
Yeah.
somewhere, because that's the internet. How could it,
Don't even listen to that. Don't even listen to that. It's in a good
and not
place
even
now.
you,
Yeah.
not even you bashed the update. You just had some
Well,
minor
I
things
don't
which are
I
fair.
don't bash. I'm very passionate about this, and if I
I
like
know, and
something, I like it. And if I don't, I
yeah,
don't. And but the like the stuff I didn't like made sense, right? I mean,
yeah.
it makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, 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 no,
But
no. It was just in good humor,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you're just outspoken if you like something or not. So,
Outspoken. All right, I'll
um,
take that.
so I don't think anyone is hiding, their criticism. There is really little right now. Most of the things is maybe the rollout, or that the PDF isn't here and so on. But I mean, that's some technicalities, and I think in 1 or 2 weeks, maybe, I don't know
I
when
like to see.
everything is finished.
I like to see Mantic get this out because the one criticism is kind of Deadzone's the redheaded stepchild. It's like
Mm,
just you have it. Let's go. Let's not
yep.
um let's not delay. Let's just do it. Because like with Halo, and then they have the Kickstarters are coming out and stuff. Let's just solidify this, and then we'll move on. Because then we're gonna back Assassin's Creed, and we're gonna back Dreadball, and we're gonna buy more Kings of War stuff. Let's just get this out. You guys are done with it. You're gonna tweak it, and then if you can get it out within 2 weeks, that'd be fantastic. Let's just not. And I know it's not you guys. I know
Mm,
sometimes Mantic drags their feet a little bit, but we need to get this out because
yeah.
it's time.
I think the what's funny is, maybe one of the problems with Deadzone is that Deadzone was in such a good place,
Right.
that third edition was in such a good place, that we, you know, if you survive with the game for 3.5 years without major changes, only a
Mm,
few additions here and there,
right.
it's a good thing. But
Yeah.
this was really needed. If you
Yeah.
look at all the changes in the factions alone, you see that it could have been so much better. But now we're here, and no,
Yeah.
I'm really, really
No,
excited.
I'm very happy, very excited, and like positive. Looking forward to it. But yeah. All right. So I've held you hostage for long enough, and but this was
No, I was
fantastic.
glad to be here.
I hope
Really.
everybody listening can get something out of this, because this was a really good breakdown of everything. We're gonna do more. We were gonna do more. I was talking with Claudio about doing more Deadzone content, but I was waiting for this update because I didn't want to do a bunch of battle reports, and then it's like, oh, while we're editing, new stuff come out.
Hmm.
So we're going to kind of internalize this a little bit. Now it's on the companion, and we're going to get rolling with that. But Claudio, I got to tell you, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank
It
you for
was
having me.
Yes, it was excellent. And guys, uh, if you've made it this far, give us a like, a subscribe if you can, and just stay tuned for more stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Well, guys, unfortunately, this is the end. But don't worry, they will be back next month. And you can check out all the links in the description or show notes for more Andrew and Coach. See you next month.